Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
The best. Okay, episode 582. This is a big weekend. You got Formula One. You got Kentucky Derby. Either one you're going to, you're going to be in a good place. However, the Lakers lost last night.
Oh, no.
Minnesota, 4-1 for the people that don't watch sports. Did you hear what LeBron said? LeBron said, they asked him the question about center. He says, well, the last guy that said something about the center position got traded. Oh, my God. You know, it's like, give me, you said it best. LeBron to you is who?
LeBron James is the Rachel Zegler of the NBA.
LeBron James is the Rachel Zegler of the NBA, just a better performer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if Rachel's
Enjoy
a great
your
actress
summer
or not.
vacation, King.
Yeah. So, anyways, Tom, that sounded angry.
Yeah,
We're not
the hate
angry.
on
We're
LeBron.
just talking
I'm disappointed.
The
I was a
hate on
Laker fan
LeBron
since I was a
is,
kid. And I
really
feel like I can't be a
palpable here.
Laker fan now. And if he
7
wants to
years.
be like that, and he
But
wants to be
Luka, they
arrogant,
traded for Luka. I
Gang,
thought that would work out.
We got a big announcement to make. We got a big announcement we'll be making here today. And on top of that, we got a lot of stories. This is the final story until the weekend. Everybody's leaving town. We're going to jump on a plane and get out of here. And for some of you that are going to the Derby, we will see you at the Derby. We were there last year. We're going back again this year. We're taking the whole fam. We're excited about it. We love the tradition of what happens at the Derby. Now, yesterday, I was on a panel with News Nation with Bill O'Reilly, with Stephen A. Smith. President Trump called in. Chris Cuomo put it together. James Carville was there. A bunch of people were there.
Yes, he was.
And President Trump called in, and they asked, what do you think about Stephen A. Smith? I like him. He's good on TV. I think he should run in 2028. So he kind of gave him that endorsement. It was great.
And Stephen A. Smith looked like embarrassed and like dismayed.
Yeah,
He's like,
no, but he liked it.
Of course. He's like, no, yes.
And by the way, he should run. The only thing is, the guy sitting to his left, James Carville, is the same person that said, you know how to talk about sports, but shut your mouth when it comes down to politics.
Shut up and dribble.
Yeah, so I don't know if that party's going to allow him to run, but it's a different story. Guys, a few things. Michelle Obama, I mean, she said something really confused the hell out of a lot of people, and maybe we'll play it. And, maybe we will, maybe we won't, who knows. 7 numbers to define Trump's first 100 days. Trump wants free passage through Suez Canal in exchange for Houthis' bombing campaign. Trump predicts China would eat tariffs, lessening U.S. impact. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick announced trade deal with unidentified country. Done. By the way, did you know Paul Williams worked with Howard Lutnick for 5 years directly?
Our Paul Williams?
Our Paul Williams worked for Howard Lutnick for 15 years.
Stop it.
Directly, 15 years.
What did he say anything about?
Great experience. He had
Okay,
nothing but good
great.
things to say.
Howard.
Yeah. So, so we got that one. Trump, I think we have a deal with India on tariffs and trade. Yes, we do. 60 million iPhones, guys.
Jeez.
UPS cutting 20,000 jobs due to fewer Amazon shipments. New York City lost $9 billion of income to Miami and Palm Beach in 5 years. Elon Musk no longer working from the White House. He's talking to him on the phone. Leading national Democrats are now calling for outright violence. I think this is about Pritzker, who said a few words. Canada's conservative Poilievre also lost his parliament in stunning fall. Like, do we need to keep beating this guy? Like, did people get the point that this guy was lazy, didn't want to work hard, and was afraid of the liberal media? Do we need to keep talking about how embarrassing of a loss Pierre had? Can we just leave this guy alone who lost in the worst possible way in the history of politics that I paid? We got to leave this guy alone.
We should leave him alone, but I'd like to add he lost his own seat, which is really embarrassing.
That's embarrassing. But guys, enough.
But I'll
with
leave
these,
him alone. I
Rob,
won't mention it.
You keep adding these stories, Rob, of Canada. I think deep down inside, Rob's got a little bit of...
He doesn't like Pierre Poilievre.
Where's your family from, Rob? What is
Rob, you French?
What's the family lineage when you do Ancestry?
Italy and Ireland.
That makes sense.
And the
French,
capital on January 6th.
I get it. I get it.
A bunch of drunks.
All right, so Ukraine ready to sign the U.S. resource deal as early as Wednesday. I thought it was done, but as early as Wednesday. Wednesday is yesterday. So 10 worst paying college majors 5 years after graduation. Folks, you have to see this and see if there's any politics involved with any of these jobs. Before you get your kids to ask you for a $200,000 school loan or whatever you're going to be spending out of your pocket, make sure you pay attention to these 10 jobs. Debt crisis deepens as 1 in 4 Americans forced to choose between bills and basics. TSMC starts building third Arizona fab to ramp up U.S. expansion. That's big. Tom's got some thoughts on that. Internal Harvard report criticized the school's response to anti-Semitism. This is actually very, very funny and revealing. We'll talk about that. California Democrats, you ready for this? This is why I can't wait for Kamala Harris to be the governor of California. Pay attention to this, folks. California Democrats want to decriminalize welfare fraud under $25,000. You do welfare fraud under 25, what's the big deal? I mean, come on, guys. These poor, do you know what they're going through? Do you know what they're going through? And you want to add additional pressure to them just because they did something that's criminal under $25,000? Leave these people alone. Let's go after some real U.S. citizens. You know what I'm saying? Let's target some real Californians and hurt those people that are creating jobs. Not these poor people. California Democrats block, ready? Bill to make sex trafficking on minors a felony again.
Jeez.
Again, they blocked it. Scott Jennings tells CNN that host Trump cleaned up the biggest mess on border. Van Jones, Dems haven't figured out position beyond outrage at Trump. And Musk's exclusive 71% believe media rigs polls to fit political agenda. No way. Nobody would ever believe such a thing. And then we got a couple other tariff stories here. J.D. Vance erupts over press focus on fake BS, doing spectacular. Whitmer, Trump allowed Whitmer to come up and speak at a military event. It's like, wait, you have to see the face on her face. This is Michigan governor who hates Trump. President Trump gives her the stage. She doesn't even know how to handle it. She didn't even know how to thank Trump. She didn't thank him. You have to hear how she talks. Trump, a guy that's trying to unify, maybe allow him to say, look, I don't mind. You say a couple words. Beautiful move on him. Gotta love it. Scary move on her. And then President Trump did an interview with ABC that if you haven't watched, it was heated from the beginning to the end. I got a handful of clips I want you to see. I think it's worth watching on what happened there. So having said that, we got some big news. We'll make the announcement here in a minute about a new show. Cannot wait to tell you about it. Has to do something to do with a direct competitor to The View, so hang tight. Ooh. But I want to tell you what happened. So this lemon campaign that we launched on Thursday with the box, okay, that was launched, that all of you guys, many of you saw. Those of you that didn't, this box that's being shipped to people who are going through a lot of different things today to make their day. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade with a lemon hat in it and a presentation with a video of me speaking to them, giving them a message here. I'm going to press pause here. There was so many accountants. One accountant sent it to 11 clients, lawyers, realtors, insurance folks using it. But then we had a chance to read the note of what some people were writing to their clients. I'm not going to give the names. I just want to read the notes to you. It was so... Our staff is, when I'm reading this, our marketing team, they're in tears, literally when I'm reading this to them. I'm not going to say the name, okay? They put the name there, then says, sending you some love to help lift your heart up today, and wanted to say, again, how sorry I am with Susan's passing. I hope this cheers you up, your spirits, just for a moment. I love you, sister, and always remember to move forward. Flowers don't happen without rain. Love you always. The name is in there. Are you kidding me? Okay, then it goes here, me and you forever together. Put your goals always in front of you. Surround yourself with one quality, with people you become, who you're with. Thank you for your friendship. Here's another one. Love you, brother. Hope you like this. Greatest podcast ever. You not only being a father, husband, and a brother, you are also a policeman. You have so much you deal with on a day-to-day basis, but you still show up for your family. I not only love you, I respect you. I'm telling you, the more I was reading these notes, the more emotional we were getting ourselves. I love the fact that the Valuetainment audience is taking time to order something, to ship to somebody else, to make their day. How awesome is this that we're doing this? So for all of you guys that placed the order, I love that the fact that you're doing this. We're wired the same exact way. You can pick and choose the hats, whether it's the white one, the black one, or the green one when you're sending out to them. There's still a few left if you haven't done it yet on the lemon campaign, especially with everything that people are going on right now. Go to vtmerch.com, place your order. And then also for the mothers out there, you asked for it. We wanted to do it. We know this audience is 80% men, but 20% women. It used to be 90%. The female audience has grown in a major way. Rob, if you want to play the clip. Mother's Day is around the corner next week, and we got a bunch of VT mom gear, stuff that's out there. Mama, today I love you, VT mom. Future looks bright. Here's one that I like a lot that's also on the site. VT Mama. This is another one that we have. Valuetainment mama that we got out there. It's awesome. So we wanted to make sure that ladies typically do the shopping for us. We're not good at this stuff. Go place an order for mothers out there that are doing the right thing. They're going out of their way, and you're seeing how hard they're working. Every order you place, they're going to get a VT Mom keychain. And then if you place an order above $100, it's the VT Mom keychain plus this mug that says VT Mom, and it explains a sophisticated achiever that is always there for you no matter what. Moms, love you. Place an order for the mothers out there that watch PBD Podcast and Valuetainment. Having said that, let's get right into it. Here's an interview President Trump does yesterday with ABC. Rob, pull up a few of the clips if you can, and we'll go one by one. This fellow, I've not seen him. Maybe he's somebody that's done this before. I'm sure he is because he is representing ABC. The president agreed to do the interview with them, ABC. This is the only interview that was done on the 100 days. So President Trump has a lot of options. Trust me, a lot of people are asking him to do it. He agreed to do with ABC. And here's what ended up happening. I want to show you a couple of the clips. Here's the first clip. Rob, is this the clip about the fact that the referrals, did you know that there's any referrals? And says, how do you know? Is this that one?
Yep.
Let's start off with that one here. Watch this here, folks. Go ahead, Rob.
Fraud is a crime. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department on any.
Well, you don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been referrals to the? Are there criminal referrals?
How would you know that?
Watch what happened.
That there were no referrals. I think there were referrals.
They generally are. There's been no investigation from the Justice Department.
How do you know that?
I'm asking you, sir.
No, you're not asking me. You made a statement.
Right.
You're not
Now I'm asking you.
That was a statement that you made. There have
I'm
been.
asking you.
Have there been? Yes, there have.
So there have been referrals for fraud from the work of
there have been. Take a look at some of these things that took place. Billions of dollars were given to people for no reason whatsoever. Of course.
Be careful. There's a wasp in the light. Right here.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm all good with
Okay.
that. So when you see something like that, Tom, when you see something like that, how do you react to it? When you see there's no referrals, there was referrals, do you read into it to the fact that, when there's sometimes the communication that they're working with the intelligence agency, some of these big companies like ABC, or do you just kind of look at it as, no, he's just spitballing and trying to corner the president?
Well, first of all, ABC got caught because ABC didn't think there was any referrals, and so they were going with the statement to start the assertive part of the interview with not looking like you're attacking the president. Make a statement that attacks the president. Do you see what I mean? Let the fact attack him. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department. He's like, you don't know that. And see, what they don't know and don't understand is there are closed hearings. That's not what a grand jury is about. You'll hear a grand jury's been convened in Miami to look into this, and those are closed. We don't know who's in there as witnesses. We don't know what the DA is looking at. Sometimes you hear what the topics are. And so they come out and make that statement, and he slapped him. He absolutely bitch slapped him. You don't know that. What are you talking about? You don't know that.
Shit.
It says there have been referrals. And now the guy's like, I'm asking you, sir. That's the recovery. Oh, I'm asking you, sir.
Right. You know you screwed up.
That wasn't his angle.
Now, here's another one. Here's the other one about the MS-13 tattoos, where look what happens with this one. Go ahead, Rob.
Murderers, criminals in this country. We have to get him out, and we're doing it.
By law.
And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute
Well,
over that.
Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not
Don't
have the
do that.
letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshopped. So let me
That was Photoshop, Terry. You can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry. Hey, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're there
in
now.
your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
You can pause.
Okay.
Can you go? I want to see what Blaze put on there. Can you zoom in on what Blaze put on there? So he had MS-13 tattoo on his knuckle. He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. It says MS-13. It was Photoshopped. Do you want me to show you the photo? I'm not an expert. Unreal. So, Vinny, what do you know about this one here?
Technically, because me and Jake were talking about it, the guy didn't have actually MS-13. He had 4 symbols that translate in the gang world, like the marijuana is the M. There's 3 other things that are on there that are.
Yeah.
It is.
Rob, I just sent you some images.
It stands for MS-13, but the one that he's talking about was actually somebody put MS-13.
No. There's 2 pictures. There's one picture that shows marijuana, which is the
M
the
for marijuana.
The S is Rob. If you have the picture,
There's like
Rob.
a smile, I want to say, like a smiley face. Here you go. And there's a cross.
Zoom in, Rob.
And then there's
the cross is the
skeleton.
1.
Yeah, see?
And this 3 eyes is the 3.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
13.
So, but he's saying it said MS-13. It didn't say it. You have to basically spell it out because they're not going to put.
Yeah, no, I know it doesn't say MS-13, but I mean, look, when I was in the Army and my drill sergeant had 3-dot tattooed in his eyes, and they kept asking him, "Hey, drill sergeant, what's up with the 3 dots?" He says, "These are moles." And I pulled him aside one day. No one's. I said, drill sergeant, I know his name. I'm not going to say his name because we follow each. I said, you realize what those 3 things mean? I said, he starts smiling. I said, look, I got respect. I'm just saying, I know what that means.
It means he was just very sad, or what did it mean?
The teardrop means something. The 3 dots means my crazy life, but there is meanings to it. Like,
is that technically mean how many people you've
when you take off your shirt
Allah?
and you're running, and your stomach says 13th Street.
Oh,
and the drill sergeant asks you, why do you have a tattoo of 13th Street? You don't just say, I used to live on the streets. I never wanted to get lost. I want to make sure everybody knows. Like, if you ever kill me, please take me to my family on 13th Street. That's where I live, right?
All sorts of gang. There's symbols everywhere that mean sentences, right? You know, there's one of my favorite T-shirts. I love country music, but we probably shouldn't show the symbols. But people can Google it and they'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
These are innuendos.
Country
These are
music.
innuendos.
But people see it all the time. Symbols make sentences.
That's so funny. That is so freaking
country
funny.
music.
Get the Hillary.
Oh, okay.
Country music.
All right, I see this
Well,
one.
So anyway,
Tom, you are some dirty.
I love him.
No. But the symbols, there are symbols and tattoos
You're the
all the way. And
dirtiest
so if
devout
ABC,
Christian I know.
He really is.
If ABC
He really
wants
is.
to say, "Oh, it's
Stop
not
it.
this or
Little
not that,"
offensive, though.
it didn't say MS-13 in Spanish. Come
Yeah.
on, ABC. And that guy, you said you were given the opportunity of a lifetime. This is where reporters get into trouble.
Rob,
with Trump.
can you put up the one that he says about Pete Hegseth, 100%? Do you have the 100% one?
Yep.
Here's one that's so interesting where he says, this is the dumbest, stupidest question I've heard. Go ahead, Rob.
Signal chat with his wife on it where he's discussing that attack in Yemen. There's another signal chat discussing the attack on Yemen. There's a reporter accidentally involved. You said the other day that you had a talk with the secretary. Did you take him to the woodshed?
I had a talk with him, and whatever I said, I probably wouldn't be inclined to tell you. But we had a good talk. He's a talented guy. He's young. He's smart, highly educated. And I think he's going to be a very good hopefully a great defense secretary, but he'll be a very good defense secretary.
You have 100% confidence in
I don't
Pete
have
Hegseth.
100% confidence in anything. Okay, anything. Do I have 100%? It's a stupid question. Look,
It's a pretty important
I
position.
have no. You don't have 100%. Only a liar would say I have 100% confidence. I don't have 100% confidence that we're going to finish this interview.
Let's go. Oh, he's such a.
It's awesome.
This is why people vote for this guy. He just doesn't give he doesn't let you walk over
By the way,
him.
this interview is probably worth 2 percentage points on approval rating because this is people. You know, they keep saying on Twitter, "Did you vote for this? Is this who you vote for?" Like
Yes.
two certain brothers who are complete tools keep sending these out. Yeah. Well, guess what? If you put this out there, you're gonna get 500,000 people say yes. That guy is what I voted for.
And you know what? Because I want to ask you guys a question though. So ABC gets this interview. Do they coach this guy? Do they tell I don't even know his name. Do they say, "Hey, listen, when you go in there, push and punch," and it doesn't help them?
For sure, they coach the guy to know what to say, what not to say. There's a part in the interview that I love when he says, the people didn't vote for this, for tariffs. Do you know what his answer is?
No.
Do you know, Rob, can you find that one? But, Mr. President, the people didn't vote for this. He says, sure they did. This is what they voted for. Sure they did. Yesterday when I was on the panel and Chris asked me a question about, hey, what do you think about all this stuff that's going on? And da-da-da-da-da. I said, what do you mean? How many times did the president need to tell you His favorite word in the dictionary is tariffs.
Tariffs. It's
a beautiful word.
What part of tariffs was a surprise to anybody?
Exactly.
The number one enemy that we have is China,
Boom.
who didn't do any of the agreements on the terms that we had, and now you want him to sit there and just allow them to do whatever they want to do? He says, no, we're not doing that. He says, first of all, people voted for this. There's a part of it, I don't know if you can find that, Rob, or not. Is that the one, Rob?
I'm looking for it still.
Keep looking for it. But Adam, when you see this interview here with the two exchanges with ABC, what do you think this does do you think the president needs to do more of these things?
Well, there's a common theme here, and I think these reporters are actually taking the complete opposite approach that you should be taking with Trump. Rather than getting on there and disguise an interview with some more sort of moral grandstanding and try to have gotcha questions and basically try to grill Trump and make a name for yourself, I would actually take the opposite approach. Try to actually extract information out of the president of the United States and win him over and say, you know what? That was a tough interview, but I respect it. You didn't try to get me. Because Trump is so used to this. How many times has Trump sat down with a person just like this and just
for years
whip them up? So, you know, whether it's their bosses, whether it's the executive producers, whether it's the owners of whoever saying, you got to get him, you got to hold him accountable, that doesn't work well in the long run. In the short run, you might get a quick little clip that you might get you and gotcha. But in the end, he's never going to come back to you again. How many didn't he end up suing CBS for something of some capacity? 60 Minutes, I want to say, for a fake Kamala interview.
Yes, and it's a key part of their merger going on right now that they have to reconcile the suit before federal folks will let it close.
If I was a reporter, I'd be firm but fair. This is a serious interview with the President of the United States on day 100, correct? And I think it's just a horrible look to try to get you and with gotcha questions.
Here's a clip that I was talking about tariffs. Rob, go ahead.
Concern out there. People are worried. Even some people who voted for you saying, I didn't sign up for this. So
sure they did.
How do you answer those concerns?
Well, they did sign up for it, actually, and this is what I campaigned on. I said that we've been abused by other countries at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We were losing $3 to $5 billion a day on trade.
Concern out there. People are.
I love that. You know why that's important is, you know, when we're given the score, and I gave C- on results, you have a big pipeline and sales. Everyone's like, how could you give something like that? I said, dude, I've been in sales for my entire life. Okay, pretty much. When you have a pipeline of 100 clients that you're trying to close, say this one's going to be a $16,000 commission. This one's going to be $38,000, $2,200, $4,200. But if you haven't closed the 100 clients you have in the pipeline, you don't get a grade on the leaders bulletin. You get a low grade. Mm-hmm. You get a grade on a massive pipeline, but guess what?
Closing.
Once they start closing, then all of a sudden, boom, you move up on the leaders bulletin. But this was one of the promises that he made. And I knew it was going to get scary for some. You know, we do engagements for our consulting firm. You can go to betdavid.com and see it. For about, 10,000 business owners, give or take, from 60-plus countries. And we talk to them. What's the challenge you're going through? What are you feeling? We talked about this in Mar-a-Lago last week. If you remember in the room, well, I'm like, tell me the pain you're feeling. What are you going through? Here's how we're negotiating this. Here's how we're dealing with this. We're not using somebody else. We were using China. Now we're going to Vietnam. Now we're going to Singapore. Now we're going with this. You're seeing what they're going through. But the reality of it is, this is what you voted for. If you knew the guy said, here's what he's going to be doing, he has to go and finish the job with tariffs. And the last clip I want to play of this, Rob, if you have it, there's one last one I think that you have. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Where at the end he says ABC's the worst. Is this the one? Let's wrap up with this one here. Watch this, folks.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
Thank you. Do you think the...
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be very honest with you. Do you know, like when I sit there and I think about why would he do this? He did this just to say that to their face. Mm-hmm. Just to say that to their face on how dishonest of a media empire you've built and what you've done. And it was so bad that Whoopi Goldberg apparently was being asked on the show to promote the interview that's coming up, and I don't even think she wanted to promote the interview.
It felt like remember when Sonny Hostin had to do the retract? Oh, Tom, she had to give a legal statement for multiple times for all the dumb crap that comes out of her mouth. Whoopi's the show's wrapping, and you could tell that a producer's saying, "Hey, don't forget to mention the episode." And look at how this, by the way,
It's stuff they do all the time. Hey, coming up later, ABC World News Tonight and an interview with Trump. And she's like, "Oh, I can't do this."
She couldn't. It hurt her to say it, but it gives me so much satisfaction because of this show being one of the worst shows. And I know you haven't.
Did you find it?
This is actually.
I have it. It's going to take a second. I haven't had.
So and that's why. And I'm so happy with your announcement, Pat. That's going to be coming up. This is the worst show out, and I'm shocked that people watch it.
Is this it, Rob?
This is it.
Go for it. Watch this, folks.
Right to say how you feel. You have every right to say, I don't like what's going on. You have every right to say, why am I paying for this when this is not, I didn't have a fight with anybody. We're just trying to get through. Yes, I see you. And I know you want me to say this. So let me say it.
Look.
You can hear his view of the first 100 days on an exclusive interview tonight on ABC at 8 p.m. Eastern and streaming afterwards on Hulu, Disney Plus, and ABC News Live.
That might be.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, that might be another reason he did it, just to have them have to promote him. You're promoting the president. That your existence of the show is just hate, and I love it.
She's getting too much airtime on the fact that this happened. I do not concern myself with her irrelevance.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you tell us your thoughts, Todd, about that. But when it comes onto this, with The View, right, where they're at, there's a lot of ladies that want to have another show that they can listen to. So for months, we've been talking about it. We've been talking to hundreds of women, and we have right now a deep roster of ladies, and we are launching a new show that we've already shot this week. You're going to see who it is. We had Jillian Michaels, Lindy Lee, Anna Kasparian, Amy Dangerfield.
What a lineup.
And we had Elizabeth Pipko here, and wait till you hear who else is going to be on the show here soon. The show is called Her Take, and I want you to get a glimpse of what this is going to look like. Go ahead, Rob.
Welcome to Her Take, where real conversation happens.
Let me just take a step back and ask a broader question. I'm actually with Trump on this. It's one of the reasons why I left the Democratic Party.
Let's talk about the mistake, though. Lindy, let's talk about the mistake for a second, okay? He had a legitimate asylum claim.
Intersex, pansexual, true spirit. What the heck is a true spirit?
Give it to me in English and then dumb it down to 6th grade level. I wake up in the morning and I have no spirit, so I'm are they really marginalized?
Can I borrow?
Like, please.
I will be the first one to say that birth control destroyed my life.
The goal is to create lifelong medical patients because that is passive residual income for them every week, every month till the end of that person's life.
You've got real conversations that happen here. Different voices collide, clash, and sometimes even connect. There are no scripts, no echo chambers, and just smart and spirited debates. Ladies, are you ready to jump in?
Let's do this.
There you go.
Finally. Finally.
Let's
go, baby.
Cannot wait. It was great. It's funny because, they came through, they saw the campus. We have it set up where soon there'll be a live event with live attendance in place. And then the distribution, the talent, the 150 full-time employees that we have in-house right now that are helping support everything that we're doing. Cannot wait. But by the way, we're talking to so many different ladies that want to be part of the first show. Schedule and all this other stuff. Stay tuned. You're going to see what's going to be coming up. But tomorrow, this will be launched on Her Take. Rob, can we put the channel below? Folks, can you go support? If you love these ladies, if you love this idea, go support it. If you want an opposition, a different angle of a show to what's going on there, go to Her Take. Put it in the chat. Please support it. It'll be launched tomorrow. You'll see the trailer all over the place here today. Okay. So, Rob, do you have the minerals deal that we're talking about? We saw President Trump and Zelensky sit down together and have a conversation together, right?
Yeah.
It's the legendary picture that we all saw.
I love it.
Which he pushes Macron aside and is like, listen,
not right
this
now.
isn't for you, buddy. You're not no security guard. Yeah, and then they sat there and, Zelensky keeps delaying. Eventually, U.S. and Ukraine signed a mineral deal, giving the U.S. preferential access to Ukrainian mineral resources and establishing a joint investment fund for reconstruction with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Good for you, Scott Bessent, and Ukrainian First Deputy Prime Minister Yulia Svirdenko signing the accord with the Treasury stated clearly signals the Trump administration's commitment to a free and sovereign, prosperous Ukraine. Rob, if you want to play this clip, here's Scott Bessent.
Thanks to President Trump's tireless efforts to secure a lasting peace, I am glad to announce the signing of today's historic economic partnership agreement between the United States and Ukraine, establishing the United States-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund. This partnership allows the United States to invest alongside Ukraine to unlock Ukraine's growth assets, mobilize American talent, capital, and governance standards that will improve Ukraine's investment climate and accelerate Ukraine's economic recovery. The Development Finance Corporation will participate and help to establish this fund in collaboration with the government of Ukraine. Today's agreement signals clearly to Russian leadership that the Trump administration is committed to a peace process centered on a free, sovereign, and prosperous Ukraine over the long term. It's time for this cruel and senseless war to end. The killing must stop, and both the United States and the government of Ukraine look forward to quickly operationalizing this historic economic partnership.
Great stuff. Tom, your thoughts?
Well, I love this because the markets are going to love this. The markets are going to see this as a sign. Also, China is going to see this as a sign. This is very, very big. And if Greenland was posturing, remember, Greenland has an opportunity to get U.S. dollars too with their agreements. And what we want to do in Greenland is prevent China from having a similar deal there. But now Greenland, you know what? You better play ball here, because if you want big dollars for your rare earth minerals, you got to take a look at this and see that you got to sign up. But what this does, this takes it one step closer to peace, and it now allows us to get the rare earth minerals that we want. And by the way, you'll notice this is a joint investment fund. So there's opportunities apparently for U.S. large investors like the banking community or corporate investors. No one will like this word, but people like Halliburton who build large projects. They build power, they build dams, they build all kinds of things like this. And so this is going to allow the rebuild of Ukraine, which means Ukraine can return to, a full economic status at some point in the future. Is going to take a lot of rebuilding, but it's going to get there. This is a good thing. This is a win. This is a win on the 100 days, and this should calm the markets who have been concerned about this. And most of all, it should settle the nerves of people that were worried about China flanking on rare earth minerals.
How much, Tom? How much money potentially does this deal bring to the United States? What are we talking about? Ballpark.
Well, the rare, I don't know if the dollar figure to the United States, but the rare earth minerals, there's hundreds of billions of dollars of rare earth minerals there.
Okay.
And so that, lithium, cobalt, and the things like this that are necessary for modern technology.
It's not the way to look at it. The way to look at it is not dollar. Sometimes you do a deal that we get a certain technology and the benefit is speed. The benefit is a relationship. The benefit is a new market. The benefit is a new territory. This minerals deal is so important because it showed China's not happy about this because China also has the minerals. China's worried the fact that this just happened because America now just got a lifeline. It's like, that video game you play, racer, and you press a checkpoint, you got 45 more seconds. You got 45 more seconds. Mm-hmm. This just gave us 5 more years of being able to take our time with minerals when it comes down to China. China wanted Ukraine to take their time with us for as long as possible. This is not good. Russia, on the other end right now, sitting down and saying, well, because Russia's also got the minerals that's in Donbass, that's the whole thing that they're right now. They have control of Donbass right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And so for them, it's kind of like, well, we have some good minerals as well. We do, but guess what? Zelensky came to the table, and Trump getting this deal done is actually a very good thing. Adam, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. This is not just about the minerals. This is not just about the economics of it. This is a geopolitical statement. The United States is basically saying, despite all the chaos out there about people they don't like Zelensky and they're more, unified with Putin, the United States came out and made a statement and said, we are partnering up with Ukraine for the long term, but we're also going to get something out of it. And our partners are going to get something out of this. And you know who the big loser is here? Putin. because Putin is basically trying to strong arm everybody. The last tweet that Trump had was about Putin. Putin, stop. Vladimir, stop. I would love to see Putin's response here, because everyone's been trying to pull out of Ukraine. Everyone has not, I think public sentiment has been declining month over month over month. But the United States basically just showed up like a big badass big brother and said, nope, we got your back, but you're going to pay us back.
Yeah, I like this deal. I like that this is taking place. And, as this goes, what is this, Rob? You just got here. Just landed in Rome, a good day in talks with meetings with Russia and Ukraine. They are very close to a deal, and two sides should now meet at very high levels to finish it off. Most of the major points are agreed upon. Stop the bloodshed now. We will be wherever is necessary to help facilitate the end to this cruel and senseless war. That's leadership. We will be wherever is necessary to help facilitate the end to this cruel and senseless war. And by the way, what's one of the things he kept saying in the ABC interview? He says, this isn't my war. That's Biden's war. This isn't my war. This is Biden's war.
100%.
This isn't my war. This is Biden's war. He kept saying it. I'm trying to stop Biden's war that he started. Yep. It's such a great point. Rob, did he literally just put that up?
No, that was Friday of last week when he landed in Rome, but it was in reference to what Adam had said, the stop Putin tweet.
Right. I love that.
Bold prediction real quick. If he stops this war, sooner rather than later, despite what the left-leaning media and infrastructure of the world would want to see, I think Trump will win a Nobel Peace Prize. Nobody on that side wants to see it.
You've said this
for a
minute.
You stop this war. He should be definitely qualified. I think Obama won a Nobel Peace Prize
for nothing.
When his first year, for what?
Nothing. Zero.
So
giving
we
a
all
speech
understand
at the Berlin Wall.
Yeah. So it's all playing politics. Trump is actually in the game, hopefully changing some stuff.
Pat, can I ask you a question? When Trump grabs Zelensky and Macron's trying to leech on, and he tells him to back up and he wants to talk to him. What is Trump what would you think that he's telling him to make this happen? What promises? What type of dialogue you think happened in that moment?
I think it's every emotion you need. And let me tell you what that emotion is. Rob, is this it, Rob? Play the clip.
Dude, look at that.
Play the clip.
Dude.
I'll tell you, every emotion you need is he used in here. This is a pro here. You're not talking to regular. Look at Macron. Okay, get out of here. We don't need you. We'll
listen, I'm going to just sit with this guy. Get out of here.
We'll be with you. Yeah. I don't even know if he was trying to go. Now that I see the body language, he was just saying hello. Yeah. But just step aside. We'll have the conversation. Okay. Boom, bingo. So, but this is what I'm saying.
Dude,
you know what is there? Here's what you need. So, what are the qualities? 4 qualities. Loved, feared, respected, liked. At different phases of your life, you use those 4 in different ways. As a father, when you're 2 years old, you don't need to use fear. It's your kid. Fear doesn't work at 2 years old. There is a wasp in here or a bee. And Vinny's losing his shit with this guy. So can somebody come kill this guy so I can get Vinny's full attention, please? He's right here. We need to kill this guy.
No,
Rob, can you get somebody to come
in?
Get somebody to come in here before we get this guy. So
I'm allergic.
That guy's fine. I'm gonna fucking badass guy. Come on.
Adam, you gonna do it?
Adam, he's no, it's too much. Shook, it's all right.
Adam, sit down.
Adam, let's sit down. Adam,
sit down, Adam. Okay. Fear, loved, respected, liked. Can you hang in there?
Yeah.
No, I know you can. I'm watching him and it's driving you nuts. Okay.
I got him.
In this case, in this instance, I guarantee there's fear being used. I guarantee there's fear being used.
Like how? Like, what do you think he's saying?
Let me tell you. Here's what I'm going to say to you. Listen, man. Let me tell you. I don't know how you negotiated with Biden. I'm not Biden. You play this game with me again, I will do everything in my power to make your life a living hell. And you know you don't want to go there. I want to make this deal happen. Too many innocent people are dying. You know you can stop that. Somewhere deep down inside you love your country. And I'm going to do it in a way for you to save face. I'm not going to embarrass you. But you've been embarrassing me for the last 2 months and haven't said anything about it. Now you want to do this? I'm going to play hardball. Don't do that. Let's get a deal in place. Let's make this a big spectacle, something part of your legacy, that you were the one. You didn't start the war. Putin started the war. Why don't we collectively work together where your legacy is you stopped the war to save so many people's lives. You did that. You want to be that hero? I'm going to help you happen. And I'll tell the world about what a great job you did. But you better sign the deal. I think that's the kind of a communication.
Yeah.
I think that's how it happened. And I fully see that happening, and I think he'll receive it. And obviously they signed the deal now, moving forward. But let me read this next thing here. Trump eases auto tariffs burden as Lutnick touts first foreign trade deal. This is a Reuters story. President Trump signs orders to ease auto tariffs, ordering car makers 2 years ago, Rob, I think got a video on this, to increase domestic components with credits offsetting tariffs on imported parts at 3.75% of the manufacturer's suggested retail price through April 2026 and 2.5% through April 2027, stating we just wanted to help them. If they can't get parts, we didn't want to penalize them. Rob, if this is the clip, go ahead and play the clip.
Here's the point. I have a deal. Done. But I need to wait for their prime minister and their parliament to give its approval, which I expect shortly. Well, I'm not going to tell you what country. Let the president.
It's just you and me here and a couple million people hopefully watching.
Let the president decide. So, and then there are country after country where we're just working through the details. But you have to remember, they have prime ministers, they have parliament, they have to work through their process. But all of these are going to be coming. And what they're going to be is they're going to be incredibly smart.
Tom, thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you, we've got a fact check there. That was CNBC guy saying, and a couple million people watching. So in the morning, they don't get that kind of rating. So the second part is that this is good. This is another win. And I'll reflect it in this way. You know where the S&P is right now, Pat, at this second?
I was just checking right now. Where's it at?
56.30.
Okay.
So guess what?
What?
We're now, I believe, at 6.9% where we were.
All right.
So in other words, the markets are continuing to recover. And why are they recover? They're recovering with W's. This is a W because what he's allowing to happen. So Trump squeezed hard. And then what did the American automakers say? You know what? We'll try to get more domestic parts. We'll try to source from other things. We'll try to do less China. That's exactly what the art of the deal wanted. And guess what? That's good for America. That's good for American workers in certain sectors. And so this doesn't do everything, but they're also talking about this is a first foreign trade deal, and now a deal they're doing. So this is, we also saw it. This is the emergence of India, and this is U.S. companies diversifying their supply chain, all of which is calming things down.
And by the way, watch what the Ford CEO said on this. Ford CEO on Trump's tariffs. Watch this, folks. This is very interesting. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, Ford is really different. We make 80% in the U.S., more than any other manufacturer.
Great
in fact,
name.
we made 400,000 more vehicles than our next competitor, and that would fill up the entire island of Manhattan. That's how big of a gap we've made. So, look, we think this is really great for the country. We really support the president's initiative. We never left the America on car production.
That's how
and
you
so
do it,
this
Ford.
moderation is reasonable. I think for mostly our competitors. They need more time, but at Ford, we're in good shape. And this is the right thing to do.
You know
we
what
really
this makes me want to do this
appreciate
weekend in
the dialogue
Kentucky?
with the president,
Watch
but
Ford
we have a
versus
lot
Ferrari
more work to do
again.
with him and the
Good
team.
for you, Ford.
And by the way, can I add something?
Please.
Alan Mulally. Does anybody remember who Alan Mulally was? When it was time for TARP, the CEO of Ford was Alan Mulally. And by the way, I spoke to him for about 5 minutes at the famous Jobs and Gates event.
Oh, yeah.
And he was there talking to Microsoft about putting Microsoft Sync in Ford cars. Remember when the dashboard was Microsoft Sync?
Yep.
And here's what he said there. I didn't take a private jet to the hearings. Remember when the automakers were summoned to the hearings on Capitol Hill at the time of TARP? I didn't take a private jet, number one. Number two, Ford paid it back, the part that they took, but they didn't take the big part. So if you look back at times of economic crisis like 2008, 2009 with Ford, and now you look now, there's been something with Ford as a company that has not taken from America and has tried to, and I think this is legacy of vision and leadership because it goes all the way back then. And I give credit to them, and I give credit to CEO Farley, well done. And I also go back to Alan Mulally and what they did back at that time.
Good for them.
Good for them.
Yeah, by the way, when General Motors took money, I don't know if they ever paid it back. When the late Bob Ben Moshe from AIG took $181 billion, they paid it back plus $21 billion of interest. That's what the right CEOs do. That's why his legacy is always going to be
I
respectful.
don't have the receipts on it, but my memory is exactly with yours.
Vinny.
We're watching.
GM took it as a permanent government grant.
That's right.
And that type of
That's
people
right.
talk the talk. We're going to watch the movie, I guarantee it, this weekend. But you know what? the next car I'm getting is going to be a Ford, and we're going to.
I want to go get a GT40.
That's one, but like no joke, and you guys are all going to see which
Ford
car
versus
I got.
Ferrari is what made me want to buy the Shelby truck and made me want to buy that Ford GT, the supercar, whatever.
I think now is a very interesting time for American CEOs. I think this is, we get so caught up with the Elons and the Jeff Bezos, we forget there's so many other CEOs out there running companies. And with so much turmoil with the markets, with tariffs,
so much drama.
you're going to have so much drama in the LBC. It's kind of hard being a CEO like PBD.
Yeah.
I get it. But CEOs are going to be able to make a name for themselves. Like this guy, Jim Farley, respect to you.
Good for you.
CEOs are going to step up and say, no, we're bringing
Let's
jobs
talk China.
back. We're coming to America.
Let's talk China. Adam, Trump predicts China would eat tariffs, lessening U.S. impact. Okay, this is a Bloomberg story. Rob, I think you got a clip on this one as well. President Trump predicted that China would mitigate the impact of his 145% tariffs on their exports, stating, "You don't know whether or not China is going to eat it. China probably will eat those tariffs." Is this the one? Yep. This the one? Go ahead and play this clip. Go ahead.
145% tariffs on China, and that is basically an embargo.
They deserve it.
It'll raise prices on everything from electronics to clothing to building houses.
You don't know that. You don't know whether or not China's going to eat it.
That's mathematics.
China probably will eat those tariffs, but at 145, they basically can't do much business with the United States. And they were making from us $1 trillion a year. They were ripping us off like nobody's ever ripped us off. And by the way, we have other countries that were just as bad. If you look at the European Union, it was terrible what they've done to us. Every country, almost every country in the world was ripping us off. They're not doing that anymore.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Tom, thoughts?
Well, first of all, absolutely right, and it's having an effect because guess what China also did? China has caved on the 125% tariff for ethene. Now, you don't think about it. What's ethene? Sounds like a makeup, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Ethene is a gas that when you process it, it makes ethylene. And polyethylene, also known as PE, is pronounced plastic. We send bazillion tons of ethene to China, and China blinked on a tariff on exports so they could get the ethene. And guess what? They did that yesterday. So they're starting to blink and they're starting to have issues. The president is right. They can't survive at certain things, but they don't care about their people and they will go long on pain. They will go long on pain on certain things. China absolutely will. But the president's absolutely right. And he's also right the reporter, once again, is trying to put a statement out and let the statement indict the president. And he's like, you don't know that. You don't know what the tariffs are going to work on or off or what they're going to do. But he says, I think they're going to eat the tariffs. In other words, eating the tariff means, crap, we're going to wait this thing out. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to win this thing on time. We're going to take the long game. We're going to eat it. In other ways, like on ethene, they need the ethene because they can't make plastic without it. And so they caved on the 125 on that.
And I think the worst thing about the whole thing is with this war with China is the Chinese people. We are never going to see that pain that we're talking about, Tom. They're going to be suffering, but Xi Jinping with that face that he makes, you're never going to see it. There's no social media. There's no outcry. There's no nothing. And those are the people like the slave labor camps and all that stuff that they have going on. I feel bad for their people and their society. It's I've heard horrible things that's happening
Their
there.
manufacturing places, many of them are complete empty.
Done.
They have no work right now. They have no work right now. All of it is empty right now. Many of them, because people are not doing business with them right now. They're going elsewhere.
Yeah.
Adam.
Look, there's a bigger storyline here, and I think this is something that is worth saying. One of my favorite movies of all time, you guys know this, Rocky IV, Ivan Drago versus Rocky Balboa.
If he dies.
If he dies, he dies. China is the new Cold War, but instead of punches like Rocky versus Drago, these tariffs are now punches. So instead of Ivan Drago, it's Ivan Dragon, and the Dragon is a very, very tough competitor. United States, unfortunately, got rich. We're a little out of shape. We're a little sloppy. Meanwhile, you got Ivan Dragon. Made in a high-tech Chinese lab, possibly a lab leak. We'll see what happens there. And they're, quote-unquote, eating the blows when Rocky's throwing punches. Trump saying, no, you're going to eat the punches. They're going to fight back. You know, she's basically out there on his charm offensive. There's a story here. Whereas the Chinese foreign minister is saying, we're never going to back down, never going to back down.
Right, okay.
This is the new Cold War.
Yeah.
Keep saying
so,
Yeah, you're finito.
No, I'm not saying to you. I'm saying to the
You
guy.
want me to keep saying that?
No.
We're never going to back down, PBD.
Yeah, okay, keep saying that. Keep
Okay, you
saying
want me to do it? Or do you
Watch
want...
this, though. Watch
Okay.
this. And by the way...
But they're going to say, we will break you.
Do it.
And we're going to see what happens.
Listen, I have so much confidence in President... You know what I like about how President Trump is? That when he says, yeah, no, they voted for this. The people were not expecting this. No, they voted for this. Why do you think we won on a landslide? I didn't surprise you with tariffs. This is going to hurt. And it's going to suck because we're going against China. And China doesn't care about their people as much as we care about our people.
That's true.
They don't look at their people the way we care about them. They look at their people as people they can use. We look at our people in a complete different way. We're there to serve them. We're supposed to be statesmen for the people that came before us, that built this incredible country, the founding fathers.
Yes.
There's a reason why this is the greatest country in the world. And if you're a leader that's coming and trying to use, it ain't going to work in America. You can do it for a term or two, but Trump's fighting these guys. This is not an easy job. While it's happening, Adidas warns tariffs will mean higher trainer prices. That's what the CEO of Adidas is saying. He's warning, saying, look, you guys can increase this. Shoe prices are going to go up. Since we currently cannot produce almost any of our products in the U.S., these higher tariffs will eventually cause higher costs for our products for the U.S. markets. Okay, that's what the CEO says. Do you have that clip, Rob?
Yeah, this is CNBC reporting on the
Play
increase.
it. I don't mind it. Play it. Go ahead and play this clip, and I don't go to the...
Sportswear giant Adidas now
Watch
saying the
this.
tariffs would result in price hikes for all of its U.S. products. The company said it did not yet know by how much those prices would get boosted, also noting that the global trade dispute was preventing it from raising its full-year outlook despite a first-quarter profit increase. Now, the company pointing out that it's somewhat exposed to tariffs on China, currently a rate of 145%. However, the biggest
Can I
impact
ask you a
was coming
question,
from
Adidas?
the general...
Can I ask you a question, Adidas? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Why would you not, behind closed doors, already have a plan 2, 3, 4, 5? Why are you not? Why not release a message, Adidas CEO, and say something like this? Look, business is business. If we're producing many of our shoes from there, it's costing us this. But we are right now being proactive about it and looking at a couple different places, such as boom, 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 boom. That's what we're looking at. And our finance team and our marketing team, we're looking at these places. We're optimistic about long terms. Why can't you give a message like that? You know when you give a message like that, Adidas CEO, you know what you're saying? You're afraid of China more than you're afraid of U.S. That's what that message means to a guy like me. That's what that message means to me. That you're afraid, that you need China. That you're putting China over America. Listen, a lot of stuff that we do, we also get from China. We get from El Salvador, we get from U.S., we get just like anybody else that's competing. We do as well. But for us, if something happens, we're automatically looking at other places. Can you imagine if a business owner straight up is saying, well, the reason why this is happening, like LeBron's interview yesterday when they lost. Hey, what do you guys are struggling with the center. Well, the last guy, Anthony Davis, when he said this, he got traded. I don't want to say anything. Stop it. Put some confidence on the team. They just brought Luka over, one of the greatest trades of all time. Yeah, you got to put defense around him. You don't talk like that. For Adidas CEO to talk like that as a weak link to say, well, this is going to affect this. Do something about it. You're the damn CEO. Go find a second and a third option. Who the hell talks like that to say we don't have another option? So prices are going to go up. Of course, it's an evident thing. Everyone already knows this. Tell me you're being proactive about it. Tell me you're looking at other options. Tell me you're talking to other people. Inject some hope in your brand. Do you forget in the movie Air what happened when Converse was massive and they had Magic, Bird, and Julius Erving like this? They disappeared. Do you forget that, Adidas? Do you forget your history? Do you forget what happened when Nike came and took everybody's lunch? Do you forget? Be proactive. Stop saying the prices are going to go up. We know they're going to go up. Tell us a positive news on what's happening. Here's another one for you, by the way. Check this one out. This one is also another one of those stories. UPS cutting 20,000 jobs due to fewer Amazon shipments. Okay, here's another story. By the way, these stories are real. I'm not telling you they're not real, but the CEO's job is to tell the story in a complete different way. UPS announced it will cut another 20,000 jobs, roughly 4% of its workforce, and close 73 facilities to reduce costs This decision stems from a significant reduction in shipment volumes from its largest customer, Amazon, which accounted for 11.8% of UPS overall revenue in 2024, and broader economic uncertainty due to Trump's administration tariffs, right? CEO Carol Tome stated, the actions we are taking to reconfigure our network and reduce costs across the business could not be timelier. The job cuts follow UPS's January statement with Amazon to reduce Amazon's shipping volume by 50% by the second half of 2026, alongside a slowdown in global trade impacting parcel delivery firms. Additionally, UPS faces reduced volume from China-linked e-commerce platforms Temu, Shein, after U.S. tariffs were imposed on previously duty-free goods under an $800 threshold. Tom, thoughts on this?
I got a couple thoughts on this.
Yeah, go for it.
So first of all, UPS made a bad deal with Amazon. They wanted all that Amazon volume, and they made a bad deal. It's an unprofitable deal. Wall Street Journal, UPS will fire 20,000 workers. And the Wall Street Journal tells the truth. It isn't why you think, right there in the headline. See that, Vinny? It isn't why you think. And they go on to say it's not the tariffs. It was the fact they made a crappy deal with Amazon, and guess what? Now they have to back off of it. And then they made a crappier deal with the Teamsters for $100,000 truck drivers. Now, I'm not saying the UPS drivers are out there taking risk, wind, sleet, snow, all that, and delivering. They don't deserve a livelihood. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they don't deserve, a living wage. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that UPS got backed into it where the Teamsters determine who keeps the job and who doesn't. And Sean O'Brien, Teamsters president, came to the microphone and said, may I remind everyone that UPS is obligated to create 30,000 jobs under the current contract. I do not object if you want to downsize management, but you're in for a hell of a fight if you move on any Teamsters jobs. So now you're handcuffed. You can't run your company the way you should. So UPS made a bad deal with Amazon. They made a bad deal with the Teamsters, and now they've got these issues, and now they got to cut these things. So the non-union people working in a warehouse or non-union warehouse worker, the warehouse is getting closed. Guess what? Thank you.
I'm so glad, Tom.
Do you see that point? That poor person in a warehouse.
No, but I love the fact that you go deeper into content to find out exactly what's going on. And good for Wall Street Journal to reveal that even though the story says UPS is cutting 20,000 jobs, it's automatically because of Trump's tariffs. It's not what you think. Good for you.
Tom, I only have one question for you. What can Brown do for you, Tom?
Well, Big Brown won the Kentucky Derby many, many years ago.
Yes.
With that horse. You know how much the stud fee was after he won?
How much?
$250.
$250 just to
per
have
stud fee. Every time he hooks up, it's $250.
Wow.
That's what Brown can do for you.
I'm half
Brown can do a lot for you. All right, let's talk about the next story here. New York City lost $9 billion of income to Miami, Palm Beach in 5 years. This is a Bloomberg story, so let's go through it. A net 30,000 New Yorkers moved to Florida's Palm Beach and Miami-Dade County from 2018 to 2022, taking $9.2 billion in income, nearly 20,000 people with a per capita income of $190,000 relocating to Palm Beach, and over 26,000 per capita income, about $266, moved to Miami-Dade County, according to Citizens Budget Commission's report. Within New York State, nearly 138,000 city residents relocated to Long Island, reducing New York City's adjusted gross income by $11.1 billion, while Westchester County gained almost 60,000 new net residents, cutting the city's income by $5 billion, driven by factors like coronavirus, pandemic, cost of living, and quality of life concerns. New York shares of U.S. millionaires dropped from 12.7 in 2010, to 8.7. That's a 33% drop off. Despite the numbers of millionaires in the state nearly doubling to 70,000 as high earners, including millennials, left for the state, Florida, California, Texas, with the top 1% of cities' tax filers paying 40% of the income. Again, I thought rich people don't pay taxes. With the top 1% of city tax filers paying 40% of income taxes. Adam, thoughts?
Well, this was something that I've been calling for years. And it's just further proof that Miami/South Florida is the best place in the world. So when I was in the nightlife world back in the day, I would always see these New Yorkers come every single New Year's, and they would spend a ton of money, and then they would be like, man, I love it down here. I'm like, well, why don't you end up moving here? I got to work, I got jobs, I got family, I got all this. And I was like, all right, very interesting. So I would see, like, what's a game you would play back in the day where you would almost like jump in, like double dutch. You would like, all right. I would see this these New Yorkers do this game of double dutch for years. And then I'd be like, well, I didn't fully understand like why they just wouldn't move down here. And then it took a worldwide pandemic for people to be like, what the hell am I doing in New York? And I've seen what's happened over the last 5 years, not even just from New York, from all over the country. People basically saying, I'm coming down. Now, you can give a shout out to Mayor Francis Suarez down in Miami. You can give a shout out to Governor Ron DeSantis. You know, you give DeSantis shout outs all the time.
Always.
Love that guy. Try to give him boots.
You know, if you can work from anywhere, why wouldn't you want to be in Miami, South Florida, Palm Beach, Mar-a-Lago,
Tom, your thoughts on
everything?
this story. Your thoughts on this.
Guess what? Bad policies have consequences. And New York's bad policies, even people that do not want to move from the New York area, they move to Westchester. They move to Long Island. So they're outside of New York City. The issue here is New York City. It's not New Yorkers. It's not people in the Northeast. It's not businesses in the Northeast. It's NYC, New York City's management. And this is what they get. All of these folks have left, whether they left locally, 138,000 going to Long Island. We know a few people out there. And then 60,000 going to Westchester County, which is up Pound Ridge area, Armonk, bordering Connecticut. And or you have the 50,000 people with 190 and 266 average salaries. It's bad policies in New York. Move them all down here. And you know what? Whoever is the next mayor is going to be looking for EBT cards to give city employees, because this is deadly on the city budget. New York City is about to become a welfare recipient of New York State and the federal government worse than it has been. Mark my words. And I don't mean that to sound harsh, Pat, but New York City is about to turn itself into a welfare queen looking for money from other people, because bad policies have consequences, and whether it's local or Florida, its own residents are leaving.
Who are they talking about running for governor, Rob, in New York? Was it Stefanik or was it
Yes,
Zeldin?
Elise Stefanik.
Stefanik, and she didn't want to. She was kind of like, I don't want to talk about a type of situation.
Yeah. PBD, I want to get your
Is this
perspective.
the one? Let me see this.
This
I'm
is
sorry.
her tweet
Give me
in
1 second.
response to Mike
Speaker
Johnson.
Got it. Speaker Mike Johnson saying he's having conversations with Stefanik and lawyer about running for governor. If either Lawler or Stefanik run, they will have to give. I don't know what the rest is. This is not true. I have had no conversation with the speaker regarding the governor race. Looking forward to the conversation about SALT with New York members tomorrow. Stay tuned.
State and local taxes.
What do you
That's
think
SALT.
about that? What do you think about correcting Speaker Johnson?
Well, did Speaker Johnson say that, or did that guy post that?
Speaker Johnson said it?
Yeah, because it
Well,
said.
let me tell you, I don't know. Can you go back to the post, Rob?
It's like she's trying to
See, look,
stay
that's
neutral.
Jane Sherman
What do you
saying
think, Pat?
Well, listen, I would, no. The proper protocol is not that step. Here's what I'm doing if I'm her. My opinion. First, you call Speaker Johnson.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, is this true that you said this? I never said that. Would you mind tweeting that? And I'm going to retweet that. So if you work, you're a phone call away from anybody, Stefano. You can call Speaker Johnson. So if that didn't happen, then there's either a riff. Did Speaker Johnson respond to this or say anything about this, Rob, or not? If
I'll have
not,
to look. I didn't see anything
she
last night.
is calling out Speaker Johnson. That's a call out to Speaker Johnson, because the proper protocol would be for Speaker Johnson to tweet about the fact that I never said this. If you never said it, you're the one that's supposed to say I never said something like this. Yeah.
And Pat, just out of curiosity, for the New Yorkers, Tom, and the Californians, and all these people in these states, that it's the leadership, it's the policies and everything. At what point, because you guys, you can't feel sorry for them anymore, because you keep voting in these same leaders.
And
you
staying
keep,
there.
And you keep staying there, and then what? You're like, oh, I can't take it anymore. And then you leave. It shouldn't be like that. You should be voting in the people that you want to run the state the way it's supposed to be. Right? Why the hell are you leaving? Why are you, you know what I mean? Like, keep voting for these freaking people, and then you leave, and it's like, oh, well, we have to leave, and then you abandon your freaking state.
Well, it's also victimhood. Victimhood can go from billionaires all the way down to people on welfare. Victimhood can go all the way around the world. And what you have is these people that are, victim. Oh, it's because of Trump. It's because of this. Well, you may have the money to write it out, and maybe you stay there because you just don't want to leave. You got family, friends, you got everything there, you got your life there, and you just don't want to leave. But what you're not is honest. You're not honest about it. You're not saying, look, I voted for this, and this is not what I wanted, and this is not the New York that I grew up in. This is not the New York that I want to live in. I said that about Los Angeles. I said, but you know what? I'm going to stick it out, and I'm going to stay here, and I've got the resources to do it. That would be honest. But then criticize, oh, it's Trump, and blaming other people and blaming everything else, and then staying there in the middle of it with non-answer or just howling at the moon. You know what?
Let me tell
Screw you.
A friend of ours came, and we had dinner with him. You met him, Bobby.
Love him.
Right, love him. Phenomenal guy. So he came, and we had dinner with him. And I told him, I said, every week I meet an Armenian family that says, Pat, I watched the podcast, the video that you did, 10 reasons why you left California, you came to Florida, and we're coming here. I see Armenians you know what kind of Armenians? Business owner Armenians, hardworking Armenians, conservative Armenians, independent Armenians. I'm not talking about the woke left crazy Armenians in Glendale that should stay in Glendale.
Yeah, please.
I'm talking about those types of Armenians. And you know what city is going to become the Glendale of East Coast? Boca Raton. You're going to see Armenians are going to love Boca Raton. Safe. They got $1 million homes on the water property, $50 million homes. They got $300,000 homes, $500,000 homes.
Large, fully established Orthodox church.
Large, fully established Armenian Orthodox. I think it's a Catholic church, if I'm not mistaken. Could be an Orthodox church, but there's an Armenian church there. Big community, safe. You're going to see this. Watch in the next 5 to 10 years. They're going to end up here. The performers, they're coming. A lot of them are coming now. Boca Raton will be the Glendale of 20 years ago, not today's crazy Glendale.
Yeah.
Glendale of 20 years ago, it'll happen because Boca's got the mixture of Beverly Hills and a mixture of Glendale together. You got all the shops, the malls, the water, the country club, the freaking Michael Dell that turned the Waldorf Astoria into an incredible property, the Boca Raton Resort that's unfreaking believable, that Tony Robbins, does his events there. It's a beautiful property. It's an absolute beautiful property. But watch Armenians move to Boca. Armenians, yetelusumek, very simple. Yeteduk nusumin et connexidum, manatsa Glendale, gortsatarek. By the way, Kamala Harris is next. You're welcome. She's going to be your governor soon, the way this is happening. She said a couple words, but I'm telling you, for Armenians, for those of you who say, well, I would never do that, come for 4 days, bring your family. Stay at the Boca Resort. Go to all the restaurants. Go to all the places. Golf. Go to Palm Beach. Go take your family to Miami. See what happens. I'm telling you, you will fall in love with Boca Raton. It's a phenomenal city, and a lot of Armenians that are business owners, they're going to love that area, raising their kids, safety, values, principles, all of that stuff. Adam,
well, I think there's a great template for what you're saying right now, because you know who is the number one culture in Boca right now? It's the Jews. They love Boca. So it's a good template right here with the Armenians and the Jews getting along.
For many times. You know,
of course.
You got Beverly Hills, you got Santa Monica. That's also a lot of Armenians.
Well, I'll tell you this.
But California, let me sell you guys the dream on your next governor. Let me just sell them to you. I want to excite all the California people. I got a candidate for you. You're going to be so excited about. And this is somebody that is most likely going to be replacing Newsom. You ready for this, Rob? Please play this clip.
Oh, yes.
The audience is going to be so fired up. I'm going to put the biggest smile on your face. Go ahead, Rob.
I can't wait.
Play the clip.
Instead of an administration working to advance America's highest ideals, we are witnessing the wholesale abandonment of those ideals.
Oh, man.
What did she just say?
Nothing. Zero.
She thinks she has an idea.
And what we are also seeing
She's a psycho.
in these last 14 weeks is Americans using their voice and showing their courage.
Right.
Americans who are speaking out to
You can
say,
pause it. Causing a candidate to lose 7 battleground states.
Yeah.
And you, Kamala, thankfully turned every state in America more Republican. God knows how you did that. You broke records.
Wow.
Yeah,
and by the way, if you go in the comment section, look what I
book.
said. Look what I said in the comment section. I don't know if you see me in the comment section. I commented somewhere in there. It should be somewhere in there. You know what I said in the comment section? I said, I hope you run in 2028. And you know what everybody is saying? Patrick, thank you for supporting Kamala.
That's
and then
so
PBD
funny.
podcast guys are like, that's not what he means. That's not what he means. But California, this could be your governor. This could be your governor. And let me just kind of tell you a little bit more as you're getting excited about this, because I know the folks in California are getting very enthusiastic. Here's another one for you. You ready? Incredible California policies. California Democrats want to decriminalize welfare fraud under $25,000. Rob, is this it? They want to decriminalize welfare fraud under $25,000. Please play this beautiful clip.
California Senate Bill 560 would decriminalize, you're right, welfare fraud below an amount of $25,000. It would also delete a provision for criminal penalties for any attempt at welfare fraud below $950. The legislation not only prevents prosecutions for attempted welfare fraud, it also stops someone from being charged with perjury if they are subject to prosecution for welfare fraud. The bill also, by the way, stops counties from pursuing criminal action for overpayment if they did not provide timely notice to the recipient. California. Critics of the bill say people who cheat the system should be held accountable, not protected. Now, there's a concept. The next hearing on this bill,
by the way, you can
hopefully
pause
it's not going to go anywhere.
Listen, you know how I interpreted that message? If I'm a criminal, dude, I'm moving to California.
That's the message.
So let me tell you guys how this works, folks. Policies attract different types of people.
Good call.
If you're watching this and you're kind of like, dude, I want to work hard. I want to be able to build a business. I want my kids to have the right values. I don't want my kids to be confused. I don't want to have to pay state taxes. Just put the pressure on me to take care of my family. Put the pressure on me to make money. If that's you, Florida's a great climate for you. Texas could even be a great climate for you. Maybe Tennessee. I got a few suggestions. But if you're watching this, you're like, I freaking hate rich people. I hate business owners. I hate people that take care of their stuff. I don't think that's fair. I want to go to a place that they're fair with crime. I want to go to a place that criminals matter more than citizens do. If that's what you're watching, what California is saying is, come hither. Come to California. Come to us because we welcome you. Come to Illinois. Come to, places like New York is what they're saying. But specifically is the state of California. Tom, I'm going to read that, and I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to hand it over to you. Matter of fact, why don't you just respond to the $25,000 one before I go to the next one?
Well, if you take a look at grand theft, you've heard of this. What's grand theft? Is
Great
you
game.
stole
Yeah.
more than $5,000.
$5,000.
Depending on the state, some states have minor grand theft at $750. Florida's got a third-degree grand theft. You enter the super bonus round at $100,000, which is big penalties and big prison time. But grand theft is a limit that is set by law so that you're no longer misdemeanor. You've gone to the collegiate level of penalties, grand theft. So what they're saying, I think car thefts are going to go down in California because it's still $5,000 for grand theft auto. That's not a video game. That's actually a crime, grand theft auto. Instead, hey man, why go to prison for grand theft auto because you stole a car more than $5,000 in California when we can just make a fake Social Security number, get $2,000 a month. 2,000 times 12 is?
2,000. Tom, don't do this to me.
24,000. I'm sorry.
Really, Tom? I'll tell you a joke. This guy sounds like
but
square root of pi times 9. Vinny, go.
No. 2,000 a month times 12 months, 1 year would be 24,000. So if I made a fake ID to get that fake ID welfare every month for a year, 24,000, no problem, Tom. Keep the money. We won't charge you. Get it? That's what they're doing. So instead of, I think this is going to cause car thefts to go down because you can go to jail for a long time for car theft, but 25,000 grand theft.
Let me go to the next one.
It's free.
Because you before that, I mean, that was hilarious. But you just gave me, the next sketch I'm going to do is going to be a commercial for California Pitch because it's.
I love that.
That is, and you just made me think.
Just say, don't steal cars. You could go to prison.
And come to California. You could
You're a
shoplift
criminal.
and steal. You could steal $900 or less
benefits of
and
it.
walk right out.
That's right.
That's
Only in the great state of California do we protect criminals more than citizens.
Exactly. Oh, that's
the line.
That's
Only in the great state of California do we protect criminals more than U.S. citizens.
What were like convenience stores
people,
doing?
Don't shoot people. Don't get into purse snatching. It's welfare fraud.
What were convenience stores doing in California? They basically were putting a price tag on everything.
$9.51, they changed it. Yeah.
Everything they were chaining up.
Yeah.
Because San Francisco made
things.
under 900 a non-punishable offense, so people would shoplift. So they made the shampoo $901.
I got to tell you, remember when
$9.51.
Our friend Ricky used to be on the podcast?
Yeah.
Ricky, and we would get in like these arguments. And the reality is, as someone that's lived in Florida, which has been a purple state my whole life, I'm not used to the nonsense that happens in California. So for someone like Ricky, he's like, you don't understand, bro. They're fucking insane out there. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're just, because Democrats in Florida are not this insane here. They're absolutely insane out in California, and the wokeness has been exposed. Just like this criminal fraud situation.
Let me read the next
going
one.
on here.
Oh, no, but wait.
Yeah,
If
does it
you
get
think
worse?
That's a great idea.
It gets worse?
Let me read the next idea to you.
Well, this
folks.
is Florida. Florida's where woke
California
goes to die.
Democrats block bill to make sex trafficking of minors a felony again. They block. California Democrats on Assembly. Rob, is this the clip?
Yes.
Go for it, Rob.
News out of the state capitol. Governor Gavin Newsom is getting involved in the latest fight over child sex trafficking. Thanks for joining us at 4. I'm Lisa Gonzalez.
And I'm Curtis May. The governor's office is speaking up after lawmakers today blocked an effort to crack down on the buyers of the child sex trafficking industry, specifically those who buy 16 and 17-year-olds for sex. Let's get to KCRA3 Capitol correspondent Ashby Zavala, who was first to report the governor's involvement.
Curtis, this is now the third time the governor's office has gotten involved in this kind of fight between Democrats over this issue. The governor signaling his support for that proposal to make it an automatic felony to purchase a 16-year-old or 17-year-old for sex. In a statement exclusively to us this afternoon, really just within the last hour, the governor's office said, quote, the law should treat all sex predators who solicit minors the same as a felony, regardless of the intended victim's age, full stop. This comes after the Assembly Public Safety Committee this morning blocked this proposal from moving forward that targets the buyers of the child sex trafficking industry. It's written by Assemblymember Maggie Krell, a Democrat who has spent the last 2 decades working on this issue. Now, before getting elected to the Assembly, she was a prosecutor for the California Department of Justice. But Democratic leaders say they have concerns about possible unintended consequences with this, how the automatic felony for the purchase of the teens could impact the LGBTQ community, people of color, and older teens. Here's what the chairman of the committee, Assemblymember Nick Schultz, and Krell had to say right after the hearing.
People are forced to stand there. People keep asking that, like, why can't Democrats immediately get on board with something like this?
Yeah, so I would emphasize 2 things. First of all, the exploitation of any children, as we heard in the comments I made in the dais, it's already unlawful to do anything like that in the state of California. What we're talking about is a very specific, narrow issue of whether or not the stiff penalties that apply in, say, a human trafficking context should apply in a non-human trafficking context involving a 16 or 17-year-old.
Because they're not human?
Under Senate Bill 1414, which passed last year, that's a mandatory sex offender registration. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't at least entertain that conversation, but how that might apply to an 18 and 17-year-old in a relationship might be different from what we might see from what we think about people that are out here trying to get somebody off the blade and exploit them. So I think that these are important conversations we have to have.
I don't think we're doing enough to protect children from sex trafficking. I think that's pretty clear. It's clear from the survivors. It's clear from driving down to the blade right now.
Needed more reason, keep piling on. Just what is California like? Brother, this is not funny. Tell me, I thought
the
honestly,
jokes are stopped. I have no jokes here.
No, yeah, no, exactly. No, I know we're not. I know you're not.
Don't do it.
I'm just saying.
No, I don't.
Guys, it's unbelievable to me. I'm sitting here because I want to talk about the RFK situation. The fact that they're saying no, 16 and 17-year-olds, it's not going to be a felony. Then what is it going to be? A misdemeanor?
And by the way, did you see the quote there? It came from Governor Newsom's office. It didn't
come from actual Gavin Newsom.
It didn't say said the governor. It came from his office because his office has 2 parts. He has the Office of Public Policy and Office of Legislative Affairs. So it came from Governor Newsom's office. So Gavin Newsom could say, well, it came from my office and there's people looking into that. I didn't. I personally.
That's exactly. That's
you have to catch these nuances that are coming out. But the strategy in California is decriminalize everything. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Rob, the only thing that I can take from California is that the only felony that the government of California has committed is the crime of not having common sense. And that just seems to be a reoccurring theme of whatever's going on in California, which takes me back to my original point. If there's one thing you could say about Florida, is at the very least we have common sense here. And leadership on down is just like, nope, this is the where woke goes to die. This is how we're doing. This is how we're taking care of our police. This is how we're taking care of children. This is what's going on here. We're not going to have kids, doing social media at young ages. Whereas you have California with just like wokeness gone wrong. And here's just another example of just the mind-bending exercises you have to go through to understand what California's like.
What is that, Rob?
This is the one of the members of the LGBTQ community who is an assemblyman who voted against the bill, explaining why this bill would target members of the gay community.
Can you zoom in on his fingernails real quick? Are you able to do that?
Yeah.
Can you go a little bit more? Go zoom in a little bit more.
They're very polished.
His fingernails?
They're very polished.
I mean, by the way, those eyebrows were done by I want to say. No, those are zoom out a little bit. Those
Is he
are
throwing
legit.
up a Wu-Tang
No, I
sign?
mean
What's
he's
he doing?
straight up. I mean, good-looking guy, but go out.
I want to hear this.
So what's it say? So Assemblyman Gonzalez is concerned that anti-trafficking bill overlooks the LGBTQ community. Again, I mean, when you say stuff like this, you know what you tell me? If you want us to baptize your kids in the eyes of LGBTQ community, bring them to California. It's very simple. That's all I see it as. If you want your kids to be overly exposed to certain things prior to them being at the proper age, bring them to California. And by the way, for some of you guys that are watching this, if you're all for it, move to California. It's a beautiful state if you want your kids to not be protected from dumb policies like this. However, let me read you what RFK is saying here. RFK Jr. accuses Biden-era HHS of role in child trafficking, says Trump's team now locating 300,000 missing minors. What? Rob, if you can play this clip, this is a major accusation being made, but here's Bobby Kennedy. Go for it.
We have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking. And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration.
Vinny,
okay,
go for it.
And I'm so happy because I don't even think we planned that you showed that California lawmakers are out there trying to make it less of a crime, a lesser crime for trafficking 16-year-old children. And I hope everybody understands what happened. This was at the cabinet meeting, and this is the new head of HHS, Robert Kennedy Jr., that's saying, bro, this is blaming. This is putting blame on them, saying that they were collaborators on children that were for sex slaves and for work. Okay? And by the way, do you guys know who the old HHS secretary was? Xavier Becerra. And guess who his assistant secretary was? Rob, could you show this? This is the face of Rachel Levine, a dude that was dressing as a woman.
That's a dude behind the dude.
Yeah. And you would think
playing the other dude.
What you would think these people, and it's weird, isn't it weird that this group is all about young children and brainwashing these young children and pushing this ideology on them? And think about it. The sponsorship, when you set unvetted people to come pick up, it was a turnstile for children, and they're gone, Pat. There's no dead bodies. There's no bones. We don't know where the hell they are. I mean, we could have an understanding. There's no Epstein Island, but like we talked about last time, they're going somewhere to these disgusting pedophiles, okay? And Alejandro Mayorkas, and I keep bringing his name up, he's one of the main ones too. It was all a plan. They told you open up the border, leave it completely open. These people are getting all the 300,000 missing children that they want, and they're arguing that it wasn't a failure, what they did, okay? It was intentional. Trump has shut it down 100%, and it was big business. And then, as if we didn't know, look at all the stuff with Epstein, Virginia Giuffre committing suicide and all that stuff. They're blocking bills for felony for these children. It's big business for taking advantage of these children. And for him to say that means it was all a plan. He called them collaborators. So that means that last administration, and that's for all the people out there, they're like, you don't care about Mexicans and immigrants. And no. It was a big business for freaking sex trafficking. And I have to pray for them, but
allegedly, and they have to prove it.
They have to prove it. But he's saying,
I know, but they have to prove it, Vinny.
Yeah.
They have to prove it. There's got to be some people being held accountable while they're going after it.
You think anybody's going to, that's my question to you. Do you think anybody's going to be held accountable? Because there's no excuse for leaving the border wide open. There's absolute zero. You did it on purpose. And from what he is saying is that they were collaborators in bringing these people in. Like, where are the kids?
So what you're saying is sex trafficking is a big business. I heard you say it's a big business. Sex trafficking is a big business. Sex trafficking minors is a big business.
Yes.
And if this is true and this comes down, we'd like to see indictments if, in fact, a department of government was acting as a criminal enterprise.
100%.
Then some heads have got to roll.
Yes, and for the new head saying that the last administration was collaborators, that's a bold statement from him.
It is.
Right?
And just with these California stories, just kind of putting them together. I know we talked about the welfare fraud and the child trafficking. It would seem that welfare fraud, it's no big deal. It's like practically encouraged if it's under $25,000. Sex trafficking, a teenager. Listen, let's not rush to judgment. We don't want to throw the book at this person right now. It's almost like it's safer to commit crime in welfare in California than actually be held accountable for sex trafficking kids.
Yeah. No, it's horrible.
That's a factual statement based on the way the laws work.
Yeah. Well, think about it.
And look, I'm just a common sense dude playing a dude who lives in Miami. But it makes no sense of what's going on in California.
Think about this. If you're letting people bring children to the border and you're having somebody come pick up those kids that's not related to them and they didn't do a background check, you're responsible for that child's life, Tom. You let some random
And you want to
guy...
reflect it, bring it around full circle?
Go ahead.
Who is the state of California going after? Who are they suing as of two weeks ago?
Who
did Gavin Newsom say he's suing?
The Trump administration.
Exactly. So they're suing the Trump administration. By the way, what was the S&P on April 1st where we were all worried about Liberation Day?
Did it go up?
It was 56.33. You know what the S&P is as of this moment?
What?
56.39.
Oh, weird.
So the entire loss from Liberation Day has been eliminated a little at a time as these little wins and big wins are piling up. But the state of California lets all this stuff go on, yet they're suing the president under the things for the tariffs. And guess what the markets are saying? California, you're wrong.
Yeah, and that's great. Let the market decide. But they can do all they want. On a brighter side for California, look, as much as I give you a hard time, I would love to see somebody have the brass to go out there and fight and save California. I'd love that. Even though I know a lot of people are going to leave no matter what, and that's a state that's in a problematic place, I'd love to see everybody rally behind somebody that has the brass and go and do the fight.
Pat, what do you mean? They have Kamala. She's fighting.
And she's legendary. I mean, she's a
winner,
legend and
winner.
interesting. But look,
I have an ideal.
Can I tell you guys? Why don't we talk about somebody who knows how to campaign on how to lose? So, Canadian conservative Poilievre to lose seat in Parliament in stunning fall. This is Rob. Is this a video, Rob, or is what do we have here with this one? Because this guy not only lost to Carney, but he also lost a seat that he's had since 2004.
Jeez, 2004?
Superstar who doesn't like to talk to only to organized people he likes to talk to. So Pierre Poilievre is projected to lose his Carleton seat since he's held since 2004 to Liberal Bruce Fanjoy with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation reporting Fanjoy's win by about 3,800 votes. So this guy was supposed to be a prime minister. Not only does he lose, he's ahead 94 to whatever, and he loses PM and he loses the parliament seat, okay? Fanjoy wrote on X, we have to look out for ourselves and we have to take care of each other. Let's get to work. The race delayed by 91 candidates saw Fanjoy gain over 50% support. Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberal likely secured a minor government, though uncounted special ballots leave the mandate unclear. Carney criticized U.S. tariffs, saying we are over the shock of American betrayal and President Trump is trying to break us to America, can own us. That will never, ever happen. His campaign emphasized economic stability, unlike Poilievre's Trump-aligned policies. Not necessarily. Poilievre, once leading by 25 points in 2024 per Politico, lost ground after Trump's tariffs and 51st state remarks shifted the election focus. Tom, thoughts?
I said it on a previous podcast, and I will say it again. This guy is not a loser. He's their king. It was amazing what he did. All he had to do when Trump said, you know, Governor Trudeau came down to visit me. He said Governor Trudeau. He didn't say Governor Poilievre. He said Governor Trudeau. And then he said 51st state. To me, I would have walked through that open door and saying, Canada, do you want Trudeau's Canada? because Trudeau's Canada is a wimpy little Canada that should be the 51st state. But I'm here to tell you that I am with sovereign Canada, and I am with the Canada of tomorrow. And the Canada of tomorrow is the United States' best partner, and the United States is our best partner. That's the Canada tomorrow. Do we want to go there? This is where we want to go? Do we want to affect the taxation that's here? Do we want to embrace the spirit of the truckers that Trudeau, froze their bank accounts and stopped them on the road? Do we want that spirit? I am with Trump because we will be his best partner. He will be our best partner. And he's talking about Trudeau, and he's talking about failed policies. That's who he's talking about when he calls him Governor Trudeau. But we are sovereign Canada, and I want to take Canada to tomorrow. That is a leader and a vision statement. That's all he had to do.
So check this out, Tom. You know how I talked openly about the fact that their team, when they talked to Tony came and told us how disrespectful they were and that they hung up on him twice. Is Tony here, by the way? Is Tony here, Rob?
He's at the other building. I can have him come here, though.
It's too late by the time he gets. If you want to tell him by the time he gets here. So our booker, Tony, sweet. He deals with a lot of different. He loves the camera. Okay, this guy,
he definitely does.
He deals with a lot of people that come. How nice is Tony?
Tony's one of the best people I know.
Pierre Poilievre's camp hung up on him twice.
Like literally, just like no
hung
click.
up on him twice, and that's never ever happened. So then I'm sitting there thinking my guy's the one who screwed up. Then John Shahidi says he tried to book Theo Von and Nelk. They said no. Then Kyle from Nelk Boys. Can you go to Kyle's Instagram X account?
Kyle Forgard.
Kyle Forgard on X. Watch this. He shows the DM. This is how embarrassing it is. Go a little bit lower. Go up there and see if they show the DM. When is this? Actually, then go to Folsen's X account.
Because he's Canadian.
Or just go down, Rob.
Right?
It's right
Kyle?
there. You just had it. Right there. Click on that and go to their account, Nelk Boys. Go to their account and go down and see what they show. Go right there. Check this out. Kyle, can I just go back out, Rob?
Yeah.
If you could, right there. Yes, please. So watch what it says. Kyle Forgard from Nelk Boys shared DMs attempting to collaborate with Pierre Poilievre in 2022. Wow. Click on it, Rob. Watch this. Okay, Canadians, this is your candidate. Pierre, we have the most popular podcast on YouTube. Wow. We've had Donald Trump and Elon Musk on. We should have you on. I am from Mississauga, and our presence amongst 18 to 30-year-old Canadians massive. Never responds back.
Wow.
Think about this. Kyle is loved. Kyle is liked. Kyle is a likable guy, right?
Awesome.
Then Chris Pavlovsky here says, I try to arrange, this is a founder of a Rumble. I tried to arrange Pierre Poilievre to meet with Donald Trump Jr. at a Rumble event in Toronto last year. While the Liberals attacked and illegally attempted to shut down our event, Pierre Poilievre refused to even engage to meet Don Jr. This is not what winners are made of. Wow. What does Don Jr. do? Retweets it and says, true story. This is your candidate. And you guys were afraid to hold him accountable. It's what you call a coward. You're afraid to meet? What do you mean you're afraid to meet? This is what happens. When you get a candidate like this that's not a change agent, your state suffers the consequences to a guy like Mark Carney and another guy that took his parliament seat. Rob, do me a favor. This is enough you posting these stories of Canada. People are starting to get upset. And you know I don't like to talk about this stuff.
I hate it. It's like pulling teeth.
Frustrates the hell out
Why
of
do
me.
you think he wouldn't be willing to meet with people? If you're in the political game, your goal should be to meet with constituents.
Give me
get up
reasons why you think. Go ahead, speculate.
Okay, if I can only speculate.
Purely speculate.
Only speculate.
So, number one, he thought he had it in the bag.
Great.
Why
that's
do
one.
I need this?
I agree. What's the second one?
You sort of have maybe like an old school mentality. What do you mean? Why would I go on podcasts?
Great. So that's second one. What else?
You're sort of an elitist. You're better than those.
Beautiful.
You look
what
down.
Else?
I mean, I think those are pretty good 3 damn reasons right there. I don't know.
There you go. Pick and choose. Guess what? None of them will help you win. None of them will help you win.
Meanwhile, you have Trump.
Yeah.
Who's richer, wealthier, smarter,
already
more
won
famous,
one. Already
marketer,
won one.
already a former president that goes on every single one of these podcasts and says, "Give me what you got."
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me.
Double dumb, Tom 3-0 in presidential elections. That's funny. Double dumb is what you call this. Double dumb, but it is what it is. So check this out. Let's go to the next story. This is big for business, folks. TSMC starts building third Arizona fab to ramp up U.S. expansion. This is big because it's about chips, right? And we need that. So, Rob, is this the clip about the chips?
It is. Howard Lutnick at the cabinet meeting yesterday.
Okay, so TSMC has started construction on a third chip plant in Arizona, part of the U.S. expansion, described as the single largest foreign investment in U.S. history, with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick stating it's tariffs that brought that in. Key word, guys. It's tariffs that brought that in, securing an additional $100 billion investment without subsidies, creating 40,000 construction jobs and 20,000 full-time jobs. Go ahead, Rob.
So they're investing $165 billion in 1,100 acres in Arizona, and they're building the highest tech chip manufacturing, semiconductors, and 4,000 employees. You know, American trade craft, right? Technicians doing every kind of work. The classic foundation of America is building it. They had 14,000 people. They're expecting 40,000 people to build the rest of their plants and to employ 20,000 people for the rest of the time.
And
This is all driven.
You never saw a site like that.
And this is all driven by your tariff policies. No chance this be happening without you.
Bingo.
Bingo. Tom, thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on here. Rob, if you could pull this up so people could see a chart. Search for CNBC, two charts, TMSC, right? And you'll find it. It goes back. There it is. You see that? That blue part, Taiwan, that's what China wants. That is the world market share of critical chips, Pat. And that's what the risk of China is. And guess what? Part of that's going to be red, white, and blue, because part of that is now going to go to the USA, because 1/3 of TSMC supposedly is going to be built in the USA. But that's the risk of China taking that market share on chips and holding the world there. And what we've done here is they already had a grant, and they already had a economic incentive, but now they're talking about a third chip plant in Arizona. So not only we got a couple just in the last 2 days, look at the win on India, look at the win that's happening here, and this announcement here, this is long-term U.S. jobs, and this is de-risking China. And so you said it on the last podcast, hey, folks, it would only take 30 days and a set of announcements to suddenly win, and the whole grade is an A+. And you know what? I feel it coming. I feel it coming.
For
because
sure.
This is so critical.
Yep.
This is a three-sided win here. It's a win for workers in Arizona.
Yep.
It's a win to help get ahead of China and market share and move a bunch of chips over to the U.S. We will have more chip manufacturing 5 years from now here than South Korea does. So that protects our destiny, because technology is a destiny, and the destiny of technology is chips. And so this is great on that second line. And then the third line is it takes away some of the threat of the sudden disruption if China makes a move on Taiwan.
Pat, can we think as the enemy? You're China. What are you like? We're starting to punch them multiple times. We're getting them up against the ropes. How would you, if you were China, Pat, how are you respond? Like, what is going to be your move?
Oh, thank you. What a great opening. Okay, and here's what that is. At what point, you brought this up yesterday, so I want to give you credit. At what point does one not sit there and speculate the fact that these guys are going to be working and dealing with you in a straight up way, in an honest way? Okay. So if you think that is not on the table, what do you have to be ready for? Anything and everything.
Yep.
How dirty can China go?
Real dirty.
I
Twice
think,
as dirty as they are now.
I think, this is my opinion,
Yep.
I think dirty as in a virus coming out of a lab that nobody still
Sure.
could
But they
definitively
can't do
say.
that again. They won't do that.
They can't, but
No,
but
they won't. You do that.
I don't think they will. But they have snuck in how many? I want to say 30,000
For sure.
Chinese.
But actually think about it. You have to find a way to hit U.S. where it hurts. So if you want, go through all the dirty ways that China can do something. Let's go through it. Power grid.
100%.
One. Okay.
Yep. Cyber attack.
Cyber attack is two. Okay. Lock up the bank accounts to disrupt the entire system in the U.S. and the world if you wanted to. You could do that.
Yeah.
Panama Canal.
Panama Canal is number 3. I was about to say Panama Canal. They could do something there and say, hey, you know, the ports, they can really cause some damage to the ports and stop the entire world flow of business and commerce and food and supply, and that you're going to feel it immediately.
Okay.
What else? Espionage, internally having people who are working internally to manipulate and deceive and do all the stuff that they're doing within the White House.
Yes.
What else can they do?
Or Eric Swalwell, people like that.
Eric Swalwell had a Christine Fang, aka Fang Fang. She was helping him, and once they found out, the FBI got involved and got kicked out of the House Intel Committee. She left.
Give me more. What else?
They won't try it, but you have to put on the table something else, a sickness or something, a virus.
Yeah, a virus. They've done it,
up.
but if they do virus again, if China does virus again. And I swear to God, the world doesn't learn from it. You deserve everything you get from China. China rules the world if you don't do anything to them afterwards.
Okay.
What else are they capable of doing? You have to realize they will do anything and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They'll find ways to pin your allies against you. They'll find ways to use proxy to get others to text. So their proxy stuff that they got Iran as proxy. They got a lot of people that they own in proxy methods. But you have to know, if we keep pushing them the way that we're pushing them and their backs against the wall, to think they're going to negotiate, 100% straight up, I think the chances of them doing that is 50%. I still put it high. That is 50%. But the other 50% of them doing anything and everything to disrupt the entire world the way they did with COVID, very, very possible. I said that yesterday when I was on News Nation. I said that yesterday to everybody who was there. Let's not forget the enemy of the state, number one. This whole tariff deal, we're not doing it for Russia. We're not doing it for Canada. We're not doing it because we want to straight out deals with Mexico, not because of Japan, not because of Vietnam. Everything we're doing with the tariff deal is for one country and one country only, and it's China.
Yep.
And Trump doesn't trust them, and I'm with it.
Good.
I'm fully with it. Adam, thoughts?
Well, I mean, this is going to be pretty dark right now. You're talking about all the things that China's willing to do.
Capable, not willing, capable.
Capable, willing, and has done before. We talk about this trade war, Cold War, what's going on. You talk about the most brutal, deadliest dictator of all time. Of all time. People think Hitler.
It was Mao.
It wasn't Hitler. Hitler's probably in third place, to be honest with you. 15 to 20 million, 6 million Jews specifically. World War II. Number 2 on that list, probably Stalin. 20, 25 million dead Russians. The Gulag Archipelago, everything we understand about that. But number 1 all time, and even close, Mao Zedong in China. 50 to 75 million of his own people dead during the, what was it called? The Cultural Revolution. So is he the founder of the CCP?
I think so, Adam.
Let me fact check that. There we go. Chinese Cultural Revolution, estimated in, I can't even tell you how many freaking deaths. That's not accurate right there. 50 to 75 million. So you want to ask what China is willing to do? They talk about their own people might have to bite the bullet and suffer a little while. They could get very, very ugly. America has no idea what goes on the eastern side of the world. We don't want that in our life.
Well, Adam, you nailed it. He was put during the Cultural Revolution of 1966. Just to give you a heads up of who Mao is, Pat, Mao, a 8-year-old kid was caught stealing a potato or something. So they killed him and then make the father bury the kid. Right. That's the type of enemy that
Is there
we're
a story of that?
There's a story in here.
An 8-year-old stole a potato. He made the father bury his son.
There was a kid stole. I want to positively say
Can
that
we
it was
fact check that, Rob?
Yeah, he stole something, and then father forced to bury his son alive. Oh, I'm sorry, his own child alive. He didn't kill him. This is one of the most disturbing stories shared by survivors and historians. Was a father forced to bury his own child alive, not as punishment but as an act of political loyalty.
This is to who?
To Mao. To Mao.
I mean, see,
that's what I'm saying. That's what the history that it comes from.
That's literally 50 million of these stories.
But that's ridiculous. Like that.
Yeah.
But this is the enemy.
Most brutal dictators, most deaths.
It's him. It's
Rob,
Mao.
Can you made the point. I mean, we know where that's at. I think we know that. Rob, can you do me a favor? Can you go to the clip that Humberto just sent? Watch this one here, folks. Rob, where is this? First, let's read the details first and then go to it. Zoom in a little bit. A U.S. Navy recruiting office in California is fully Chinese. They openly speak Chinese, not one word of English. In this video, they're enlisting Chinese recruits. A major war with China is very possible, larger. Okay, I don't know who this person is at the top, but let's watch the video, Rob. Play the clip, please.
这是我单位的领导。你好，简单的 PRT 的一个
This is a U.S. military recruiting
不会真
office.
正的 PT 的那种。
There's no way. Is it?
然后这道签字对吗？对，签字。签一下那个。
Is that this is real?
What is this one?
I'm not sure.
I mean, the Navy hat. They're wearing U.S. Navy hats. That's a U.S. Navy T-shirt.
Okay, do me a favor. Can you go to the comments section of this video? Look at the first one. That's from justice.gov. 2 U.S. Navy service members arrested for transmitting military information to the People's Republic of China.
That's justice.gov.
So you can go a little bit. That's justice.gov. That's a government website.
Yep.
So I am extremely careful when it comes down to China. We are a little bit too reliant on it. The world is. And I'm sorry, man. I'm willing to go through the pain for a couple of years. I don't think it's going to take that long. But I'm willing to go through the pain as long as we can because the bigger pain can be massive the more power they have. If they become the world leader and the world has to do what China tells them to do, there's certain people and societies and religions you don't want running the world. That's one of them. Adam, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I do, and I'll be very quick. I have massive issues with this. And the biggest thing is people don't want to be called that R word, racist. Oh, how dare you? I can't believe it. In Miami, I can't tell you how many people I speak with, meet with, Uber drivers who don't speak one word of English. I mean, you know, I take my Ubers. Uber drivers, literally zero English. And I speak Spanish pretty well. Hola, ¿cuántos años viven en Miami? 5 años. You lived here 5 years? ¿Hablas inglés? No. I said, ¿tú quieres aprender inglés? No posible. You speak zero English. You've lived in Miami 5 years, 10 years, 20 years in some capacity. Zero English? Zero? Okay.
They're not assimilating.
And they're often Cuban, sometimes Venezuelan, sometimes Colombian, mostly Cuban. Okay. We all know that we had the Cold War with Cuba and everything that happened with that, the Cuban Missile Crisis. China? In California? You're trying to tell me that there's people in the Navy that potentially are speaking zero English?
No good.
And we got no who. This is very concerning. Now, how could you sound racist? I don't know. Maybe I just want to protect America and make sure that Chinese citizens aren't infiltrating. Do you think China would ever do some sort of espionage and spy in America? Maybe send over spy balloons?
I have zero trust in these guys.
I am very concerned about this as an American citizen.
This is why, for me, this was a top 5 issue. And I'm loving what the president is doing. And go, President Trump, go. I do not trust China. Guys, don't be quick to forget what happened March 12th of 2020.
Thank you.
When so many hundreds of thousands of restaurants of small business owners shut down, kids confused, staying home, grandparents dying, grandkids couldn't say goodbye to a dying grandmother. That's what the government did, and it was all started because of a leak in China. And by the way, story just dropped 4 minutes ago. Tulsi Gabbard. Watch what she just announced right now with Anthony Fauci. Watch this one here on Megyn Kelly Show. Go for it.
But the thing that we are working with Jay Bhattacharya, the new NIH director, with, as well as Secretary Kennedy, is looking at the gain of function research. That in the case of the Wuhan lab, as well as many of these other biolabs around the world, was actually U.S. funded and leads to this dangerous kind of research that in many examples has resulted in either a pandemic or some other major health crisis.
Well, let me ask you specifically, because we already know that EcoHealth Alliance was partnering with this Wuhan lab to do gain of function research. We just have never been able to have somebody say, it was that exact experiment that led to this COVID bug. But have we gotten there? What's the new thing that you're digging in on?
We are working on that with Jay Bhattacharya and look forward to being able to share that.
She doesn't want to give
hopefully
the info.
Very soon.
Okay.
That specific
link,
correct, between the gain of function research and what we saw with COVID-19.
I mean, that would be extraordinary because just so the audience knows, if that's true, if it was Peter Daszak's research with the Wuhan so-called bat lady that caused this pandemic, then we did fund it. Then Anthony Fauci helped fund the pandemic.
The thing that he
fighting.
denied over and over and over to Senator Rand Paul's questioning.
That's right, under oath.
Under oath, exactly. So is it any wonder that he sought a preemptive pardon for anything during a certain period of time by President Biden before he left office?
And then strong-armed and smeared people like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, anybody who came out and said, I don't know if that's natural. This actually smacks of lab.
And the reason why this is so important is not just what happened in the past. It's because this gain-of-function research is happening in biolabs around the world. Jeez. I got attacked, and I think you saw this. We've probably talked about it on your show before, when I warned against U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine when the Russia-Ukraine war kicked off. Bingo. For this very reason. Who knows what kinds of pathogens are in these labs?
That's scary.
And if released, could create another
And you hit the lab
COVID-like
and you open
pandemic.
it up and all the stuff
And for
goes
that,
up.
I was called a Russian asset. You're, trumpeting Putin's talking points, all of this nonsense, simply for speaking the truth and stating facts that, by the way, are still on U.S. Embassy Ukraine's website today about how the U.S. has funded these biolabs in Ukraine. But my point is, in order to prevent another COVID-like pandemic or another major health incident that could affect us in the world, we have to end this gain-of-function research and provide the evidence that shows exactly why and how it's in our best interest, the American people's best interest, to bring about an end to it.
I love it. You can pause it right
So
there.
does he get, so here's my question though. So Fauci, Tom, he was pre-pardoned, but she's basically saying there's perjury going to be involved and this gain-of-function research. Does this still have to go back to the auto pen and they have to just verify that happened? Because
I can't speculate on that, but what the American people are about to find out is Secretary Gabbard is on the cusp of an announcement that she says, and we're going to, I think, see truth. And we're going to see truth-connected things that I think a lot of people have already been talking about, already speculating. She was very well-spoken, very carefully spoken. That is what you want to hear in American leaders. We've done the research. We've done the investigation.
Love it.
We're right here.
I love it.
And she's going to announce it.
I love it.
Auto pen, pardon,
Keep
all that
pushing
stuff.
the envelope.
However, I think knowing the truth is actually more important than the Fauci auto pen.
Tom, some people can't handle the truth.
No. I'll tell you why.
No, they can't.
Because
they
the
can't
Fauci,
handle the truth.
Fauci and the auto
some of these
pen
people, Tom,
is
they
that
can't
knowing
handle
what
the truth.
happened and cutting it off for next time and not having these things happen and not having our government operate like this is what's important.
That's right. And by the way, for me, you know what it's all about? I don't care if Fauci goes to jail. Believe it or not, to me, I want the example and I want China to be held accountable. China disrupted the world. I have zero desire for us to play soft with China. Push them to the freaking corner as much as you can. What they're doing right now, I freaking love. This validates what we were just talking about a few minutes ago about China, and Fauci's tied to China because you know what's the additional thing that we didn't even talk about? You know what else China is willing to do at all costs?
What?
Buy up American politicians and lawmakers.
For sure.
Buy up universities.
Yeah.
Give $70 million to Harvard. Hey, talk good things about China.
Yeah, weird.
Buy up news stations. Buy up real estate next to our military. Buy up all this. They are willing to do all of that. We need to go back to being paranoid again. America needs to go back to being paranoid again with certain people that just don't love what we love, our values and principles. And by the way, I was about to go to a completely different tangent. We got to wrap up because of what's going on. I'm going to do one more story here before we wrap up. I think we have to talk about this. We haven't talked about this for a while. It's just a story that I think we need to comment on. Sean Diddy Combs' lawyer claims he might not have been mentally capable of crimes due to drug use. Folks, can I please do me a favor, read this with me. Can you do me a favor, Rob? Put this up there because, again, sometimes, forgive me because English is my fifth language. Armenian is my mother language. Assyrian is my father's language.
Yes.
Farsi because I lived in Iran for almost 11 years. German because I lived in Germany for a year and a half. Then it's English, fifth language. I took EFL, not ESL. Let me read this to you one more time, okay? Ready? Please, hang tight.
Somewhere Kim is
Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers claim he might not have been mentally capable of crimes due to drug use.
What an angle.
You know what this tells me? You know what movie the lawyer's been watching the last week? A movie called Primal Fear with Richard Gere and the great Edward Norton. Hey, sit down. Stop crying. Whoa. Yeah, and then at the end. Yeah, okay. Keep watching Primal Fear. It's a great movie.
That was just a work of art, man.
Good for you, this lawyer, for watching Primal Fear, one of the greatest movies, in my opinion, of all time, of one of these spin job movies that confuses the shit out of you. But let's read this guy here on what he's saying. Sean Diddy Combs' legal team argued he may not have been mentally capable of committing crimes due to substance abuse, prompting prosecutors to file a motion to exclude testimony from psychiatrist Dr. Ellie Owen, stating the notice testimony relates to the defendant's diminished capacity to form the mens rea required to commit the charged offenses. In other words, a mental condition bearing on the issue of guilt. Combs faces charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and fraud with a minimum of 15-year sentence and trial set for May 5th. Prosecutors emphasize that proving mens rea or guilty mind is essential writing to secure a conviction. Prosecutors must prove not only that the defendants committed the crime, but that they did so with a guilty or blameworthy mindset. What? And objected if a defendant intends to introduce expert evidence related to a mental disease or defect or any other mental condition of a defendant's bearing on the issue of guilt, he must provide notice to the U.S. government. Tom, when you read this, how do you process this?
Well, mens rea is how it goes. Is the you had the cognizant awareness and ability to reason when you committed the crime.
Yeah.
So this is where they use the insanity of defense, or where you have certain killings and they say moment of insanity, moment of blackout. A horrible thing like that horrible thing we talked about in China. This man is forced to bury his son alive, and they said he gets up incredibly angry, completely freaks out, and leaps on a guard with a piece of rope and just chokes him there, and you're unable to get him off and do it like that. At that moment, he does not have mens rea because he is operating completely outside of himself because of his sheer grief and the horror that he was just subjected to, that his mind has snapped. And he's not responsible at that moment for having the kind of logic you would have. Make sense? And they're saying, basically, because of drugs, Diddy was so out of his mind, apparently for a number of years, over 64,000 victims by some counts, right? Allegedly, right? That he wasn't able to do it. Pat's right. You know what this is? This is a Hollywood script they're trying to write. This is, you know what this is, Pat? This is a Hail Mary against the wind in a snowstorm in Buffalo. That's what this is. And it's being called out by newspapers that are like, and the headline should be this, Pat, is that the best you got?
Yeah.
That's your alibi? Yeah. That for a period of years, apparently he had no marbles.
Yeah.
You want us to believe that.
Well, he had some marbles, but they weren't his.
And I think even the best, even the best lawyers, best defense lawyers in the world have a hard time putting a defense up when the evidence becomes so compelling and the stack gets higher. And I think that's what, I suspect that's what's happening here. When they have to go to the point that say, oh, he was completely out of his mind doing drugs. Really? Which ones? The ones he supposedly committed in New York? The ones he supposedly committed at the VMA Awards? The ones he supposedly committed in L.A.? Which ones are we talking about? Yeah. So you're telling me he was on drugs for a matter of years and was just so completely blotto?
It doesn't.
Wow. To me, over. This feels like and I'd love to hear from like a lawyer, like a Megyn Kelly, or people who are lawyers, because I think this is just a Hail Mary, and it is like the last item in the box.
He's finished, but like at the end of the day, and he's never going to see the light of day. Everything that we've seen, all the people coming forward and everything. This, like you said, Tom, Hail Mary, grasping for straws. Oh, now he's mentally. So that means, you know what it is? He did all that stuff. He did it. Everything that you did,
that's what the lawyer's saying.
That's what the lawyer's basically saying.
The lawyer's indirectly saying that he did all the crime. He did commit the crime.
Thank you. That's what that says.
I don't know what the hell's going on with Diddy. What they're grasping at straws to do this. I've never heard of mens rea. There's probably more likelihood that he was hanging out in the men's restroom at this point. But the whole you're doing drugs, so you don't know what you're doing, buddy. I grew up, born and raised in the nightlife scene in Miami. I've seen people on cocaine, ecstasy, MDMA, GHB. What's the new stuff they're doing these days? 2C.
That's how you learn to spell
the whole
in Miami.
deal. Never once were they like, yeah, I had no idea that I was doing organized crime for years. Stop it, Diddy. Stop it.
You know what he's going to be doing very soon if he goes the way he's going? He's going to be sharing a cell, and the guy is going to be singing him. My mind's telling me no,
but my body's telling me yes.
PBD, I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind with Kelly.
Tom, go.
With R. Kelly, yeah. But
Bubba the cellmate.
Yeah.
Hold still.
No,
Diddy.
it's called R. Kelly is what it is. But I mean, you can't screw around with stuff like this, man. No. It's just some stuff you got to just do your best to avoid and not fool around with. Can we do one last story before we wrap up?
We gonna do one.
What's the last one you want to do? Is
Van
there one
Jones.
you have very strong opinion
Your
on?
boy Van Jones.
I mean, do you want to do a serious one or
Van Jones?
Give me a serious one. Give me Van Jones. Let's go to Van Jones. All right, Van Jones. Dems haven't figured out position beyond outrage at Trump. Good for him for saying something like this. Rob, is this a clip or a story? So on Monday, CNN's Laura Coates live, CNN political commentator, and former Obama advisor Van Jones said that Democrats have yet to figure out what the are the Democrats offering besides outrage at Trump and Musk. Jones said, I applaud Governor Is this it, Rob?
Yep.
Go for it.
Political commentator Van Jones is back with us now, along with former Minnesota Congressman and 2024 presidential candidate Dean Phillips. Welcome back to both of you. Dean, let me begin with you. Is this, in your opinion, a realistic strategy from Governor Pritzker?
Shit. Okay, so this is going to be long. All right, let me just wrap up this. If you, Rob, you find it, I'm going to try to wrap up the rest of the stuff I'm reading here. He says, I applaud Governor Pritzker. We do not, Rob, I can hear it.
You hear him.
Yeah. I applaud Governor Pritzker. We do not need to stand up, and we do not need people to try to raise the stakes. Most people are sheeple. They're going to look around and try to raise the stakes to figure out what they're supposed to do. And if everybody is kind of calm, wringing their hands, then most people won't move. But you need two things. You need a fire alarm and you need a fire station. A fire alarm is somebody that can raise the concern level in an appropriate way. He added, but we also need a fire station. Who's going to put out the fire? The opposition is important, but what's the opposition? What are Democrats offering besides outrage at Donald Trump and Elon Musk that has to be worked out? Adam, thoughts?
Well, listen, sometimes I'm critical of Trump. Sometimes I'm complimentary of Trump. But the one thing you can't say about Trump is he is playing the game. It's almost like Team Trump versus the Team Democrats. And one team is playing the game and the other team is just on the sidelines booing. You're not going to win the game by booing at the other team. And that's what the Democratic Party is at this point. The boo, Trump, F Elon, F Trump, you suck. What's going on? Yeah, but you guys aren't running any plays whatsoever on the field. So you got to give Trump credit. He's out there. He's going long. He's taking chances. He's moving the ball upfield. Yes, sometimes he'll have some interceptions, some turnovers, but you're just sitting there booing from the sidelines. Like voters, aka the fans in this case, you got to give them a reason to cheer for your team, not just boo at the other team. And I feel like that's exactly what the Democratic Party is at this point, just booing at Trump, booing at Elon, but not actually in the game themselves running any plays. That's what I got to say.
Okay, and then by the way, there's some Pritzker calling out like fire, hey, we need to do this. Is this the one, Rob?
Yep.
So here's a billionaire from Chicago that wants to become a president, and he's probably a capable guy. I think he's a top 5 guy that's going to be formidable, and I think he'll be running in 2020. Maybe not, he'll be walking, but he will be, I don't know why you guys are, he will be, I'm not trying to be fun. I'm just being very, Rob, can you play the clip? I didn't mean to do that to you guys. I would never do that. Come on, play the clip, Rob. Go for it.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now. These Republicans cannot know a moment
Okay.
They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
Punish them, soapbox, and punish them at ballot box.
Do you know what that? So did you hear what he said though?
What's
Tom?
that?
Mobilize protesters, Trump Republicans. They cannot know a moment of peace. You know what that's a dog whistle? Just like when, what's her name? Maxine Waters was like, when you see these people get in their face, don't let them rest. That is the Democratic Party. They're the party that wants to cause violence and they want to push you to the limit so you can fight back, okay? That's
push it to the limit.
Well, no, but isn't that ridiculous? That's like lighting a match and then blaming the fire on the wind. Like,
no, yeah, look, does the inflammatory statement surprise me with J.B. Pritzker? It's not a dog whistle. When you hear him speak, the position is so easy to see. Like on, Google satellite maps of Chicago, Governor Pritzker is easy to see. So I think you've got opportunities here to either be upset at this or to respect your opponent and how they might be drafting. I never pick on a last place team. And I'll tell you why. Because they're about to get draft picks that can change the game. And I think that Van Jones is not just screaming at microphones. He's being very methodical. And people on his side are going to start listening to him. Yeah. He's saying, we need to find a measure. We have not found the angle. We have not found. So you know what he's doing? He's not screaming like Whoopi Goldberg. He's not just repeating, pablum to the masses on their side the way, Rachel Maddow is. He is trying to find a strategy, and I respect Van Jones for doing that, even as I disagree with Van Jones on his principles and foundations. And now you got J.B. Pritzker is up there. Where was he? Where was he speaking? In New Hampshire. In New Hampshire. Why is he speaking in New Hampshire?
First place.
Exactly. He's up there starting. And so I respect the fact that they're out there trying to put it together, and the slogans aren't going to do it. We're going to stand on the soapbox and we're going to punish them at the ballot box. Oh, that's very nice. No. That's a political, so that's a red meat line, and everybody cheers. And they said, but wait, what do we say when we're on the soapbox? What do we do? He left that out. There's 2 pieces of bread and no meat. That's when you talk to political strategists, they say that's what it is. And it gets everybody to cheer and clap so you don't have to go, please crap, like Jeb Bush. It just goes. And so that's what I think. I respect what they're trying to do. I think Pritzker is a more formidable candidate that people think on the core.
He's battle tested, he's wealthy, he's tough, he's strong, he knows the game.
Like I always say, listen, you campaign in poetry, but you govern in prose.
You didn't say that. Mario Cuomo said
that's
that.
Right.
And Bill Maher quoted him yesterday, a couple days ago with Terrence Howard. And don't try to own this quote that you're Mario Cuomo all of a sudden.
I'm just saying, I'm giving a shout out. Giving a shout out, PBD.
Oh, my goodness.
What I will say, I want to ask your opinion on J.B. Pritzker. Because on one hand, by the way, I think he's losing weight.
I have a big opinion on him, but go ahead.
I think he's losing weight.
Big.
I think he looked at Chris Christie and said, I can't go out like that.
Yeah.
I got to literally lose 100 pounds because I got to get to 2028 without aiding somebody. So this guy, he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's got name recognition.
Yeah.
He's not some schmuck congressperson like AOC or the girl down in...
Neither is AOC, by the way. Let me tell you.
She's a congressperson.
She's not a schmuck. No. AOC, you're gonna think AOC's not gonna carry weight on 2028?
I'm not saying that she doesn't carry weight. I'm saying this guy's a freaking governor. So
AOC's a 10-time better marketer than him.
Okay, she's a congresswoman from woke Bronx. She doesn't run a state. She has zero pull whatsoever.
That part is,
just because she gets media views does not mean she knows how to govern.
Yeah,
clearly.
Let me tell you. I have respect for her on one angle because I happen to think she's smarter than people think. I don't think some of the things she says I agree with, and I think sometimes she's missed the mark on what she wants to do. But she went to Boston University. And she graduated with honors and was a double major. And people try to portray her as this silly bartender. That's not who she is. I don't agree with her positions, but I respect what she's doing, and I respect.
Which one of us is the Democrat here, Tom? What's going on here, buddy?
But I mean, when you say comments like the world's going to end in 6 years,
I'm saying let's not be cocky before Super Bowl. Let's understand the other side.
I'm simply saying that a governor carries more weight than a senator. A senator carries more weight than a representative. I'm giving him praise, but what I'm saying is this: do you think he's a viable candidate in 2028?
I need that button, Rob. I need that button to save my voice.
Did you know, because Pritzker's
Do you think he's a viable candidate 2028 is what I'm asking.
What's viable? Top 5?
Do you think he's a top 3 guy?
I think he's a top 5 guy.
Top 5.
Okay.
By the way, you got to let the market decide on how they're going to fight. I don't know how they're going to fight. I'm just saying he's a top 5 guy.
At the end of the day, do you put him above or below AOC as a viable candidate?
Oof, 28?
Yeah.
It's a very good question you're asking.
I mean, if you hit the button, I couldn't have asked the question.
Yeah.
You know they have his.
No, you still haven't made a point, but it's just a good question.
Do you know, because Pritzker...
And let him answer the question, Vincent.
I don't know. I mean, if you go to, like, when I think about somebody who's ran a business and ran a state, governor is above Congress.
Yeah.
So I agree. When I think about a marketer, somebody who has marketing down, I mean, who was Bobby Kennedy? But he was a better marketer.
Big time.
Than a lot of the other guys. Who was Vivek? What was his experience?
True.
Yeah, so to me, I give a lot of credit to AOC knowing how to make noise. Matter of fact, let's go to this next story and wrap up. Rob, can you go to the Instagram post and watch who commented on this Instagram post, which was kind of interesting. So I posted this. This happened at SLS. We're having dinner. Tom, you weren't with us. We're at Flagler's. Paula's sitting next to me. Jen's sitting to my left. And I spoke to this very successful man who has 3 daughters who all told him they have no plans of having kids. Okay? Good man, makes a lot of money, very successful. Their careers combined with today's societal pressures has caused them to second guess starting families. This mindset is becoming increasingly common. There's nothing in life that compares to having children. All the money in the world, all the accolades, all the items checked off the checklist, none of it comes close to the experience, Rob, if you can go a little bit lower so I can read that on that side, to having and raising kids, okay? So I say that. And then look, our friend here goes on the comment section, Rob, if you can go there on Instagram. I don't know if you see it or not.
I screen grabbed it.
Oh, okay, right there. AOC comments, and she says the United States is one of the only developed countries in the world that doesn't support new mothers and parents with federal paternal leave. If we want to talk to pro-family talk, we need to walk the walk by supporting paid paternal leave and guaranteed health care like the rest of the developed world, invest in affordable child care, and public education. Her and I went back and forth in our DMs. We've been communicating for quite some time here. But we had an interesting exchange together. Tom, when you hear this, 3 daughters, you got 2 daughters. Imagine if Bailey and Brooks says, Dad, we don't want to have kids, right? What that feels like. And number 2, why we got here and what reasoning she's making. What do you say to that?
So point 1, my daughters are not allowed to buy into this. And well, I shouldn't say not allowed. My daughters don't buy into this because I give them the facts and the rationale for why we have families and what we do going forward. And so, and I point out the pitfalls and all the headwinds and everything you're going to face. Point 1. Point 2, for people to say, you know, my daughters aren't going to have kids, I understand the logic. They look at this world, they look at everything that's going on, they look at themselves as having to go, you know, raise a family and the complexities and what that's going to cost, and they see that. And they don't have someone like me sitting next to them with an alternative point of view, because they have the guy you're talking about is a smart guy with smart daughters. But I'm telling my daughters, listen, you can have your career and you can grow this. Let me tell you about Jennifer. I sat side by side with Jennifer as she had kids. And we worked together with a very fast-moving and very complicated company, and it's still there. And I'll tell you, you know, I see how it worked, and that's how I feel. Now, the other side here, I don't think the ultimate solution is, oh, the government swoops in and says we have to have forced parental leave, companies have to have this expense, and then, well, we have to have guaranteed health care in the rest of the developed world. That's a whole different, she's inserting a sentence there, and that's a program I'd like to debate her on, because guaranteed health care like the rest of the world, let's pull that out. She's talking about affordable child care and paid parental leave. So she's saying that the government is the solution. And I just don't disagree with that. I just don't disagree that just keep dipping into the ladle and handing it out from what? Taxing everybody else. You create this circle where people conclude, man, this is so complex, I'm not going to have kids. That's just so I think she's rational from her own point of view, but I disagree with it. I think
Adam,
it creates unintended consequences the other way.
Well, I don't want to cause World War III over this topic again.
No,
PBD,
you're not going to. Go for it.
But I do want to say that there's part of what AOC is saying is right, and then she lumps in a whole other stuff of, single payer health care and all this. I think we do need
What
to
did you say?
What the hell's your problem?
What the hell? I'm so on edge on this topic. I'm so freaking on edge on this topic. I'm like, women can choose to do whatever they want. They can do no wrong.
Adam,
Believe
you should be
all
saying
women.
it this way. I don't want to call
200
World War
because
me,
of this
meaning
exchange.
you.
That's true.
Go.
Yeah, but I will say something about this. Listen, I love you ladies out there.
Vinny, let's go
I applaud you for whatever decisions you make. I will say this. There is an overall movement with the modern feminist movement to prioritize your career over having a family. And that might work in your 20s and maybe in your early 30s. But talk to me when you're 40 and you got a great job and no man and no husband and no kids and no family. That could get very sad. And I'm not even saying that you need to do this. I'm saying the mentality, the Chelsea Handler mentality is what I think people need to overcome. There's no secret. Men can start later, but I don't see many men saying, I never want to have kids. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
I see them saying, you just said you would let me speak.
No, I'm just saying,
Okay.
yeah, breathing. It's 11:31.
But I will say that the choosing the career over the family, I think will come to bite you in the end. One last thing. As you start to make more money, you almost shrink the dating pool because of something called hypergamy. And women want to date up. Pat gave me a whole book on this. It basically changed my mindset about this. But as women focus on their career, they make more money, their dating pool shrinks, and basically who they think qualify for them will shrink as well. I just think women need to be very, very cautious about dedicating your entire life to your career and not end up having a family. My last piece of advice, go talk to women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who have done that and ask them if they would do anything different. That's my advice.
All right, fair. I think that's good. You good for you. You did that without disrespecting any woman.
Yeah.
And that was awesome.
Listen, chick, here's the
I'm actually very
Yeah.
impressed
Nice. Great
by the way you handled that. Good for you.
And there was a point right up front.
Zito text. The National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and his Chinese deputy NCS advisor Alex Wong have resigned from the Trump administration.
Oh, shit.
That's not good.
Are we going to get to that last piece
Mike
of news?
Waltz resigned?
Mike, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and
Well, let me tell you what I
there's-
just see here.
yeah.
This is what they just sent me right now from...
Yeah, there's a bigger piece of
No
news that I think is
shit.
out there. Yeah.
What?
Okay, so the
Rob,
guys
please
from
pull this
Glendale,
up. Yeah.
from Glendale are sending me this. You
Yeah.
know the whole topic I talked about Armenian Boca Raton?
Yes.
Guess what?
What?
Today is Vinny's birthday.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Ah, there we go.
Bring
Yes.
it out, baby.
Hey, Vinny.
Bring it out.
Hey,
Happy
Vinny.
birthday to you.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Vincent Oshana. Happy birthday to you.
Doesn't make a wish, right?
And many more. Go for it, man.
Yeah,
Make
Vinny.
a wish, baby. There you
Way
go.
to go. I love you,
my man.
There's a birthday kiss on your
Guys,
cheek.
listen, I'm not a big birthday guy, Pat. I think birthdays to me it's Mother's Day. She deserves all the credit for my mom, for her love, her faith, her strength, but then
Sweet
also
Lana.
me being here on this platform with this team, Pat. I'm so freaking grateful. You created something that has purpose. You've given me a different purpose in life, and I just can't be like this is my family away from my family, and I love you guys.
Bro, we love you.
I love you guys.
Everybody here loves you. My kids can't
Love
wait
you,
to hang
Vinny.
out with you. You are loved by everybody who knows you. You're one of the most special guys I've met in my life.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited to witness the next phase of your life.
I can't
Truly,
wait.
I cannot wait for it.
I love you.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
We're going to have a good time this weekend.
Let's go,
It's
baby.
a privilege to be
Gang,
with you on here, and I wish you a
if
very happy
you
birthday, sir.
would like to wish this man a happy birthday, go on Manect and send some love his way. Rob, if you can put up his QR code, we got to go catch a flight and head out of here. But Vinny, you're awesome.
Thank you
Everybody
guys
here
so
loves
much.
you.
Vinny, we love you.
Rob,
I love
if you
you
can
more.
pull that up. There's Vinny. Send the man some love on the bottom right Manect QR code. And
if you know any beautiful, young,
No,
single
don't do it.
Assyrian
Oh,
women,
yeah, for sure.
Assyrian
Celebrate birthdays.
women,
Have your cake.
For sure.
or
He
rich
is-
Assyrian men, whatever.
No, that's what we're doing.
Assyrian
Gang,
women.
Take
Let's
care,
go.
everybody. God bless. Have a great weekend. We'll do this again next week. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.